Hey, what's going on? This is SaveState Podcast, episode 14. I am Matt, the Digital Jedi. I have with us Alex from Two Lop Tech, and our special guest this week is this guy, the Fox. What's going on, fellas?
Dude, the legend.
The legend. That's right. How you fellas doing?
Doing good. Thank you guys so much for inviting me over.
Okay.
Oh,
Before you leave, Mr. Fox, I am freaking nerding out, bro. I love you, man. We love your content. We're so excited to have you on and talk about some nerdy stuff this week, man.
Appreciate
Welcome.
it.
Welcome.
yeah, super excited, dude.
Now, Alex, I guess I can ask, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing well, dude. I can't complain. My wife beat a new couch out of me, and that's about all I got to say for this week. Yeah.
No handhelds for the rest of the year for Mr. Too Loud.
No, that was if I did the couch. So I got the clear. I got the green light for more handhelds.
Fair enough.
I had to get the couch out of the way, dude. So.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, Carrie, what you got going on this week, man?
Mengmi sent me over the Air X. The one.
Oh, nice.
Russ reviewed that a week ago. Pretty much right after Russ reviewed it, they emailed me and they said, "Hey, do you want to review it?" And I was like, "Yes." It's actually a really nice device. I have it right here. For the $85 price bracket, all the things that they've done to kind of manage the precision of picking specific parts to hit that price target, they did a good job. Everything there, the firmware has been wrapping up. So the latest one that I had fixed a few rough edges insofar as the frequency of the display when I first had it, and then the updated patch, just microstutter issues that can be present. Not everyone can really feel it, especially if you put on threaded presentation in RetroArch. So a lot of that stuff is fixed. And generally speaking, this has been a wish device for me, especially in the price bracket if you got that early bird thing. But it's this, to me, the price for this is what I feel like the PS Portal price should be. So if you wanted a streaming handheld, it's accessory price. You know what I mean? PS Portal at 200 whatever. When it got to the refurbished ones for 150, I was like, okay, that makes a bit more sense as an accessory for the PS5. And this can do that as well. So it does a bunch of stuff outside of just emulation. I kind of like it for Xbox cloud gaming for the Game Pass Ultimate. It's solely because I use it as an in-between, and they do all the save syncing automatically. So it's a nice way to just get something going.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you have I know everybody's saying PSP device, PSP. Do you have a dedicated PSP device?
Yeah.
Would you use this as that?
Oh, right. So this is what I would this is probably up there for the first recommendation. If someone was looking for, especially for PSP emulation, I would put this over a real PSP myself, only because you can do an increased internal resolution. The analog sticks are better, and then all the other functionality that comes with it. So it's just, especially it's the price part of it is where things get really you can probably find an E3000 PSP E3000 the street version for maybe $70, $50 if you really look for them. I would still rather have this over an official PSP if you're just looking to enjoy PSP games. Just from that round, this would be the first recommendation for that.
Nice. Tula, do you have a preferred PSP device? You do still everything on your INE, or you got a preferred?
I wouldn't say preferred, I guess, dude. I have a PSP. I have a PS Vita. When it comes to PSP emulation, I guess but I'm kind of different, as most of us creators are. We just have so many handhelds, and just anything that's a 16:9 with a nice AMOLED screen, and I'm good to go.
Fair enough. Yeah. So for me, and it's funny you brought that up because I have my preferred PSP device is an Odin one. That's my one that I love to play PSP on, and I'll be honest, I don't play a ton of PSP, but lower powered 16:9 stuff like PSP or anything. If I'm also one of those guys Too Loud also that kind of stretches everything. So if I'm feeling funky and want to play a Super Nintendo game stretch, I might play it on that one. So I'm not sure how I feel about the Mengmi. It looks super cool, and I kind of want it because I have the sickness, but I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
think you'd recommend to people?
Like, I'm excited for what it offers the space, as far as a budget handheld. Like, I think it's so cool for like new people coming into emulation to come in right now because they're missing a lot of the growing pains. They're skipping out on a lot of that, and they're coming into a time where like you're getting a lot for your money. There's a lot of bang for your buck, and I think I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. I mean, I probably will pick one up at some point because I mean, it's just a cool device to have, right? I can give that around to my kids and let them mess around with it,
right?
And not feel so bad. I'm not giving them a $300-$400 handheld,
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome to see more manufacturers come into this space and try to offer a budget device. And on top of that, I've always pioneered like Android. It was always my go-to when it came to emulation. Like I know and I respect the Linux guys and their opinions with the whole Linux part, but to me it was always about being able to multitask, listen to music while I'm playing my game, or just in a Discord talking with friends, or just having the option, right? Like just having the option to watch a YouTube video on it and not have to grab another device. So Android has always been the top tier for me when it comes to, I mean, besides x86, right? But that's when I'm wanting to lug around something more heavy, or, when it comes to lightweight battery life consumption, Android all day. The standby time is phenomenal. I'm not the type of guy who's like wanting to turn my device off every day, turn it back on. Like, I don't mind leaving my Androids on my nightstand and they'll be on for a week. Come back to them with 36% battery life, cool, whatever. Yeah, so I think it's a cool product for what it is, for sure.
I think something you just said that I think is a standout is that a lot of people, especially new people, are missing out on the growing pains. Just think about all these. So you have this Miyoo, which is a new company, right? And they're coming out with just a stellar device that's under $100. If they can get supplies available, the Heligali Action Pi is awesome 4x3, and this thing's 4x3, so it's not great for PSP, but it has the power. It's a lot of fun to game on. I've been playing a lot of like Dreamcast and stuff on this thing, and then there's even still, I know Too Loud's probably gonna roll his eyes. There's some e-waste out there that's pretty awesome right now. Do you do a lot with e-waste, Carrie?
Yeah, actually, I did one a while ago. So I've been doing this for like ever. So like, where is it? Do I have it here? So in 2008. There was this guy right here. It did not come out until 2011 because of a lot of growing pains, but it's called the Open Pandora, and this is a Linux-based handheld.
Wow, look at that, dude!
I fancy it already, dude. I love clamshells. First of all,
that? That's so cool,
and it just looks so cyberpunkish, like a cyber deck, or
man. Like right. Yeah. So this was basically the first clamshell with the keyboard, and it kind of inspired a lot of what the GPT Win 1 was.
Wow.
And so this originally was coming out in 2008, didn't come out until 2011. So that's when I had this one. This has the Cortex A8 in it. So basically like the iPhone 4 and Samsung Galaxy S1. That's the chipset that was in there. So it was like very advanced for that time.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It was an electrifying time for the handheld scene then, because RE64 came in and made a Dynarec for N64 for ARM chipsets. So now all of a sudden this can play N64 emulation, and we were all flipping out. Now that we didn't have the device yet, but that was still like, there was just development happening in the background where we saw that stuff. And like, XLPhase was there. So you guys might know the Drastic emulator on Android.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's made by XLPhase, and he was on those boards, GP32X boards, and long ago. So it's like, there's just at that time after the Open Pandora, you had the GP32X, you had the Wiz, but the king of handhelds for years was the PSP Go. There was nothing. I managed to get the PSP Go at like the best moment in time. I got it in like 2010, 2011. I bought it used for like $20. And now they're like 120, 150. I forget what the price was, but I remember it was just climbing. And because there was nothing else that was out there. And then you had, GPT that came out. But it's a really fascinating time because we had this real long period where there wasn't a whole bunch of stuff made. And then you had some oddballs. So like GPT was there. You had the GKD. And they were making Android handhelds. that were really super niche. And that you know, you have Anbernic, Neo, and all these other guys that they're making devices practically every week now, that it's almost funny that you could, like, I mean, you know, get Russ from Retro Game Core, like he has enough material to just keep on doing new stuff for how much stuff is coming out, which is ludicrous because that wasn't the case at all when, you know, in 2016 when I was really starting to do this stuff. But yeah, it's to what you were saying, to your point, everyone doesn't have those growing pains. They're just walking through the door like, oh, I am want for choice. Like, what do I want? Like, what specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's funny you said, like, as far as like a Russ, or like, you know, just having so many devices to choose from that they can keep creating content. Because I remember before becoming a creator, thinking to myself, like, man, you know, and I'll admit it here, like I used to critique a lot of creators because I would look at them and think like, yo, you guys never double back on a device. We never get to hear the 6 months later, you know, how is this device and what you're doing with it. But after coming into the space and becoming a creator myself, you're overwhelmed with products. Like it's a never ending cascade of products, and to double back on a device, it has to really be something special, right?
Right, yeah,
you know,
yeah. You really do need, yeah. So, like to mention that, like the MSI Claw AI8, I did the review for that, and then I sent it back to MSI, and then Intel reached out to me like months later, and they were like, "Hey, you know, we got a driver update. We're getting huge performance increases. You should do, you know, can you do something?" And I was like, "I don't have it anymore." So then Intel sent it to me, and then it took me like a month and change because this was around the time of Gamescom, and it was just really hairy, and I had my schedule was packed. So it, like, just to revisit that took almost 2 months for me to do all the work. You know, for me it sucks because I have so many benches that I do, and then inside of each TDP scope, so that people can see the whole picture, and this takes me days. So it's a lot. It's a tremendous amount of work. So going back on things, especially, you really need to have something. The absolute worst is when you get that feeling of like, oh, there's a significant performance increase, and then you start doing it and it's basically nothing, and you're like, well, why am I going to do this video? Like, I'm not going to like, oh, huge performance increase, here's 3%. I'm not going to do that, and people would just be upset at it. So it's like, I'll invest a day's worth of time to discover that when I compare these captures,
you're wasting your time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, all right, well, that's not something that's worthwhile to even talk about. Like, I can mention it when someone says, "Hey, I was better." I'm like, "Yeah, it's about 3% better," and it's like, "Oh, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know." And it's like, I don't need to make a video for that. And that's where I kind of like, I you know, it's tough. There's a lot.
I think too, a lot of people like watching your content, right? A lot of people who are not in the know would just think like, you know, the length of your video is the amount of time it takes you to make that content, but no, it's not. You know, especially when you're going in depth, those deep dives, and you're, you know, checking all TDP levels, and you get really, really in depth, like more so than a lot of other creators in this space, which I think makes you very unique. And but I know for a fact that there's a ton of work that goes into that, because I've considered messing around with it myself, and I was like, you know what? I'll leave this for the Phawx, dude.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know, when I talk to like other people, they're like, you know, like, oh, well, what should I do for benches? And then they start getting into the weeds of it, and then they're like, oh, I see why this is. And it's like everything.
It's tedious.
So, I mean, I've automated. There's automation that does quite a bit for me, but even then, there's parts that I can't automate, and I have to go and just actually do it. So it's sometimes I'll just be on my couch and I'll have it plugged in, and I'll just like have like a TV tray that's like folds over my lap, and I'll just have a keyboard, and I'll be watching TV, and I'll just start it, and I'll just, you know, it'll take me a lot longer, but I can do, you know, I can
other
like
stuff. You can relax and chill. Yeah.
Because I don't need to, I just need to like press a button once I have it all lined up and everything, because when you're doing benchmarks, you have to prime them. You can't just run it cold, because if there's anything that's going to get rendered, shader compilation, if that happens, that's going to impact whatever you're going to be capturing. So you have to run it and then capture by running again. So it's like you have to do loops just to get aggregate data. So it's a bunch of work to do it correctly, and then it's I do go crazy for some reason because at the time when I had like just the GPD-Win1 or the GPD-Win2, that's a one device. I was like, okay, I can just do this one game and I'll do these 2 TDPs, and then TDP spec started bumping up, and then I had to do 10, 15, 20, and now like the GPD-Win5 is coming out, and that's like I have to do all of it. Like I have to do 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and that's like huge. So it's a bunch of work. It's a tremendous amount of work. I think from the outside in, there's lots of things that a lot of people. The thing is that I am adamant about it. There's a lot of things, and I'm like old school. So when the whole we care very much about journalistic integrity, and when people are saying, "Oh, you got paid for this," "Oh, you got the device for free," and it's like, dude, I'm doing so much work on this, and I could just buy this stuff and not do this, and that would like I
enjoy it so much more. I think they missed that part. Like,
it is such an investment in time that whatever I don't need. I'm like straight up like with Lenovo. I don't know if I'm gonna get the Legion Go 2, but I just tell them, I'm like, look, all I need is a week, and I'll send it back. I don't need the device. I just need to have. I need to have review stuff ready for when you guys are launching, so that I can give people information. I have too much stuff. Quite literally, I have so much stuff that there is now a palpable worry that if one of these batteries just lights up and is a fire hazard, that's how many lithium batteries I have. You know what I mean? So there's just, I don't need all this stuff. And I don't sell any of it because I don't feel like selling it is, I don't think that's, for me, I just, the principle of that, I won't sell it. And also, I like to keep it because I like to revisit. Like if I want to compare something to a newer device, it's good to have it. So there's like that type of stuff. This is all part and parcel, right? From the outside in, from the audience in, going along to what you're saying. It's a lot of work, and I get it, and I commiserate. And not for nothing, there are people that will straight up do reviews. I'm not like saying like any, but I'm like talking about huge YouTubers that will like secure the bag and just be like, here's this thing, and it's just a glorified infomercial. So I get it. I get where they're coming from because there is already evidence that it's happened, and it's difficult. It's challenging, and sometimes it can be like, why am I doing this? Like I could just be enjoying my life instead of, but I do YouTube as a hobby.
Yeah,
that's fair. So what just guesstimate, what's our average time you put into a single video? Because your videos are about 15, 16 minutes long, right? Yeah. So what's average time you spend developing that video?
So for like the Miyoo RX, that took me 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
3 days.
So okay. I mean, like 3 days worth of time. If I were to put in the hours, probably around 8 to 9 hours, including the edit.
And that's a Miyoo Air Android device. Like, what about when you're doing like x86, like a GPD device? Right. Yeah. I know that's significantly longer.
So, like my Strix Halo review for the Asus one, that's an hour-long video, and that took 3 weeks to make.
Jesus, dude.
But that's a lot of stuff to cover, right? Like it was just, and I had 2 different devices. I had the 395 and the 390. So when I'm running those like benches per watt, that part is automated, but it will take a day for the automation to just go through it. And then I'll do the battery benches where I'm capturing that data. If the battery is going to last 12 hours, that's another day. And it's like, okay, I'm not doing the work, but it's capturing data. And then I have to put that in. There's lots of scripts that I've written in the past that I still use today that, they'll graph out a bunch of data or I'll just use, Google, Google Sheets and use their graphing. But yeah, it depends on how extensive things are. The x86 devices can take a week at the least.
So I want to couple that with the Phawx is at 599 videos. He's done this 599 times. Nearly 600, by the way. But you're on the precipice of your 600 video. So congratulations on that. That's freaking awesome. Coming from me, who's brand new to this, right? I just got like my 20th video and I'm new and I'm already getting overwhelmed with the amount of stuff, the list that I have for myself, things I want to do. I'm sitting here thinking this dude has done this 600 times.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's impressive, man. That's
the drive,
impressive.
bro. The drive. Yeah, it is
Do you
commendable.
realize that you've done it that many times?
Well, I've had my channel for very long, and I really started picking up and being like, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber in 2016. And that's with the GPD Win 1. I don't know if I have that. Oh, yeah, here it is. I got to re-review. I want to re-review this. So this is the Win 1.
Oh, gee. Man.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
That's
I
awesome.
remember wanting that device so bad when it came out. Like
this
man.
one, when this was coming out, so this again was on the Dingunity forums, which no longer exist, unfortunately. But that was after the GP32X kind of like splintered. I don't want to say splintered, but there was stuff that happened, and then I stopped really going to GP32X, and then Dingunity, because they had the Dingu type of handhelds, the Wiz. And that's where GPD would come there because they were making Android-based handhelds. And then they were like, hey, here's this x86 idea that we're floating around. And then it was the keyboard wars nonstop on Dingunity. And I was pushing for the Open Pandora method, which is having a full, because you can't have a Windows PC without a keyboard and mouse. It would just been an awful experience without it. And like, there have been growing pains in that whole sphere. Like you look at the first Neo, which only had a touchscreen, and there was just lots of growing pains with, some games just like, oh, you don't have a mouse and keyboard connected, I'm not going to even run. So it's like things that are just kind of weird. Like you were like, why do you care? But that's what the game developers were like, oh, we should have these inputs in. So like when this was coming out, this was like super weird because I backed it in February of 2015. October of 2015 was when I was going to get it. But then GPD was like sending some of these units to Geek Buying before the Indiegogo people who backed in February. So then people were getting these units before. So then I wound up buying this unit off of NeoGAF. I was like, I'll give you $600 for it. And it was $300. So I was like, I'll give you double. And he's like, yes, no problem. And you have to understand the reason that I was doing it was because I was genuinely worried that someone was going to beat me to making content for it. And no one did. Like no one was making content for it at all. So I didn't need to like rush into it at all.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's when there's lots of things that I like, all the foundation of stuff, like having metrics on display so that when you're looking at it, you can see what's going on, frame rate and everything else, battery life. All those things I think is like what you start to see. You look at a ROG Ally, right? It has that box that comes up that gives you battery life, frame rate, and all that other stuff. Those are the stuff that like I always showed off. Yeah, so it's oh man, it's been a long time. So when you say 600 videos, a lot. Believe it or not, I have deleted quite a number of videos as well.
Wow.
I was, before I did handheld, I was doing like indie games because I just genuinely love indie games. But I was doing it more as like almost streams, but pre-recorded streams. So I wasn't really talking, and I was just playing. And I was just putting up, but I was just like kind of treating it as a stream, but not. And it was just kind of like throwaway. Not, I don't want to say throwaway too. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't really talking. And then I was like, I think this is polluting my channel. So I actually deleted quite a number of videos that no longer really apply to what I'm
was doing. That your experience, like what I would say, like dipping your toe into YouTube, like just trying it out, like trying to figure out if this is something you wanted to do? Is that what you were doing, like playing indie games and posting videos, and then one day you just realized like, I want to take this serious, I want to do handheld reviews? Or
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, just so I was like kind of just playing around, and my YouTube channel that I had was, I would just post achievements. So like I had like I beat the impossible game. There was like Xbox 360 indie game, and I was like, oh, here, it took me 137 tries. I beat it. And then like some popular YouTuber was having difficulty with it, and then started looking around, and people found my video, and then that video took off for some reason. And I was like, oh, neat. And I was like, why is anyone coming to this? And they're like, oh, so-and-so is having difficulty. So there's like lots of stuff like that. I was using it for like recording game achievements and stuff. And it was really just like a diary, like an achievement place.
Like, yeah, your journal of game entries.
Yeah.
So that's that leads into a question that we had for you actually, because I believe it was Matt wanted to know, and it was what type of games do you play? Because so much of your content is about the devices and not about you. So we're curious. Like, I guess it's indies, yeah? Is it? What do you enjoy?
Yeah, so I typically I love indie games. So conceptual short games that are super interesting, I love. And it's almost like juicy fruit gum. Like you'll like, oh, flavor's gone, and then you're done. But like,
that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy.
So, while he's talking about that, I don't know if you know this too loud, and I'm a nerd, so I know this. So before you answer this, Kerry, too loud, how big is your Steam library?
Probably about 600 games or so.
Okay, so I got you beat. I'm at a close to, and I'm cheating because I'm including my kids' Steam libraries, and I'm cheating. I'm at about 1,000. You have any idea what Kerry's at? Because I kind of.
But I do want to say I'm not including my son or my daughter's Steam library.
Okay, throw them in there. Throw them in there. You know what? No. You know what? Let's throw yours and mine together.
So, I mean, but to be fair, I have just as many games on Epic and GOG.
Nope, still not gonna make. Tell them, Kerry.
So about like 1,800 probably.
Tell them.
I mean, publicly, it's over 10,000.
Whoa!
So I was watching a Nerd Nest episode, and he said that, and I was listening to one on the car. I almost ran off the road. I'm like,
that's insane. I don't know that I've met anybody with more. Like, that's an achievement within itself.
It's 10,000. So he's got other stuff in the share. Yeah.
Yeah. So
insane?
When games get delisted on Steam, it actually subtracts from your number that you guys can see. So when you're like, when Scott Pilgrim got delisted because of licensing reasons, if that gets delisted off the Steam store, but I purchased it, I still have it, but it's no longer counted as a game that is for, like, it would be a -1 from that perspective.
I have quite a few unlisted titles as well.
So Steam, it seemed like they did that because Steam is a whole ecosystem of intense stuff, and there are some pockets of stuff where I am in that sphere, and like I'm in a group where we try to buy delisted games, or try to understand when a game is going to get delisted so that we can purchase it. One like Blur is a game that I would love to have. It's no longer available. Yeah, and it's an old game, and it's just gone. And I remember I'm kicking myself for it because Steam had those crazy sales all the time in like 2010, 2011, and it was $5, and I was like, I'll wait for it to get to $3.50, and then it just vanished. And I was like, oh, and people bought a bunch of it because they knew it was getting delisted, and they're selling it for like $300 to. Because how Steam's gifting thing is because they purchased that, they actually have the digital right to it, and they can trade it using Steam's marketplace. So I could get it, I just would have to pay a bunch, and I don't want it that much. But I just want to have it on Steam. So it's a fascinating time. Hey,
that's interesting, dude. I didn't know the market was that wild on digital titles. Like, that's pretty expensive.
Before we continue, I do want to preface that again, because Steam is so like intense, and there's like just the community around Steam. One of the biggest reasons that I have such a large library is Indie Gala is probably the bigger one. It's one of the bundle sites that bundles game keys and stuff. Now, what they do is they have this kind of bigger bundle where if you buy like 40 or 60, it gets even cheaper. So what I would do is I would coordinate with a guy that was like quarterbacking this, and I would just give him $60 in PayPal every now and again, and he would just be like minusing how much my contribution was, and just be like, here's this bundle, and I was paying like maybe like $1.75, $2.75 for a bundle of games. And then when I got those, I had a program that was using Archie Steam Farmer, and there was, oh my goodness, I forget the old name of it. Anyway, I would farm trading cards from the games that I got. and then I would automatically sell those games and get the Steam money for them. So I was like kind of breaking even almost at the time that I was doing this. So I was like, what do I care? Like, okay, yeah, here's $60, but it's going to be $60 in Steam money eventually, and I get a bunch of games. So I'm not doing any work. My computer is just farming cards and selling it automatically. I don't care. And that's what I was doing. And then Steam trading cards started losing a lot of value. So this proposition started like really like fading away. And this is when I was like at 7,000 games. And then I was like, you know what? I at least have to get to 9,000. I just have to get to 9,001. So
over 9,000.
I just did it. I just did it for that. Like quite literally, I did it for the memes.
For the memes, dude. That's amazing.
God. That is
That's
awesome.
amazing. So
That is awesome.
I have a question for you, and that's regarding GPD, because I noticed that GPD seems to be your go-to when it comes to these boutique outlets of x86 devices. And I take it the GPD one is why you've been around with GPD so long.
Yeah.
And
so
why it's always been your go-to.
Yeah. So I have a long history with GPD, and I've always like, I was enthusiastic. And again, like I had said, like I was worried that so many people are going to be buying this because in my mind, a handheld gaming PC was like fantastic. How could you not want that? Right, and it was like everyone was just like, I did not know that this was possible or that it even existed. I would like, at a GPD 1, I had to like really pare things down. So I'd get like Fallout 4 running on it, but it would be running at like 20 FPS and really low resolution. I did Doom 2016 on the GPD 1 and I made it look like a 3DS game just to get to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
but like I had to do that stuff. And then people were like, even like with how low I had made the quality of the game, over 8,000. Really, I did not know that.
I didn't know that
either. So basically what it all came down to is that from that whole thing and my enthusiasm for it, and I was pretty much the main creator for that, and no one was really showing up. Like everyone was just letting me have that space. No one was really doing anything. And when GPD was making the GPD Win 2, they were going to use another Intel Atom-based one and keep the price around 300. I mean, I still wanted it to be inexpensive, but I was like, they have the core Intel M3, which is going to be a better chip, and I have to show it off. So I got a tablet that had Intel's Core M3, the 7Y30, and I just showed it off. And I was like, look, at the same power, 6 watt, I'm getting double the performance. And I was like, and then they were like, okay, we can do that, but it's going to be $600. And everyone on Dingunity was like, yes, please do that. And then, it's crazy that my stuff is super, like, this is the GPD Win 2.
That was my first. I love that thing. As soon as I got rid of it, I regretted it. The screen on that is gorgeous, man.
Yeah. So this one, like, I was talking to GPD. So I was like, at that time when I was doing GPD Win 1, they were aware of who I was. But I was like, look, guys, like, if you're going to do this, that's awesome. And then they started doing it. And then I wanted to, again, have, like, broadcast this. So I was like, let me just buy the prototype or whatever. And they were like, okay, it's going to be, this much money. And I was like, no problem. PayPal, here you go. Send it to me. And then since that time, after that, we've been like I have a very good working relationship with GPD. And I talk with the main guy at GPD all the time. And I'll just like throw some stuff his way. Like when I did the Strix Halo for Asus, when I had all the benchmarks, I went straight to Wade at GPD and I was like, dude, look at this. And now we have the GPD Win 5. And it's like,
maybe you instigated that, dude.
Like, I mean, the one thing that I really love about, hello, Michael. The one thing that I really love about GPD is that they push the envelope all the time, and they make a lot of devices that I just love. So I've always been keyboard centric, clamshell, and they keep on making those types of devices, and those are my preference. So they just kind of make the stuff that I love, and so I've just been with them for a really long time, and through those years, we just have that good relationship.
They are very attractive to me, the clamshell. Oh, go ahead, Michael. What's up, dude?
I don't have much time, but I do have a quick question for Karen. I thought this was important just because it's been eating at me for a really long time, almost since we said you're going to be on the show. You cover a lot of stuff, I know you go through a lot of headlines. If you ever dedicate a show to just going through the headlines, will it be called Fox News?
I genuinely have never considered that. I want to let you know that I have never actually considered that. I should 100%.
There's
Fox
a
News,
dad
that would
joke
be
for this
great.
week. Oh,
The
God,
fact that's out of my system means that I can actually sleep tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
fair enough.
That's like such a great suggestion that no one has ever said it to me. They've always said like, "What does the fox say?"
Yeah,
And then
Michael. Leave it to Michael, man.
Yeah,
Always.
what was the guy? Oh, this guy Fox. Someone else had said that, and that's from the Silicon Valley show. The billionaire guy. He's like, this guy F's.
Or
You know what I
Belson,
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's people on Discord. They're like, this guy Fox, and I was like, man, that's really good. So that's why I put that on there. So I started doing a lot of that type of like Zero Fox Given. That's
When we were coming up with titles for this episode, we were like, I was thinking of like everything with the F word in it. I was like, Fox around and find out. Like,
I was gonna go Tom Clancy and Tom Clancy's Sky Fox.
Oh, nice.
There you go, Sky Fox. Oh my God. With the GPD, so how are you feeling about the Win 5? Well, first off, it's not a clamshell. So we kind of surprised that they did that one instead of like the Win Mini or the Win Max or something, and so we internally,
I was really shocked about that. Yeah,
right?
I was like, why wouldn't they go with a Win Max first for this chipset? Just bigger, more active cooling,
Right. Yeah. So, why not Foxhound 2? There's a lot. I mean, there's a surprising amount that you can do with it, and it's genuinely surprising. So I should really consider a bunch of stuff. Yes. So a lot of people had that question, and I think that so for better or worse, and I don't know why it is. All right, GPD has been in this game first and longest, but. Right. When you think about PC gaming handhelds, GPD doesn't come to mind first at all.
No.
And Ioneo has supplanted their name for a lot of people. And I would wager that one of the reasons is because Ioneo came out as a candy bar form factor, right? Like it looked like a handheld. Whereas
look, he's got my baby. I want my baby back. He's got my baby.
I regretted getting rid of that one.
I regretted getting rid of that one.
But like when you show this off, it for some reason like makes people like short circuit. They just like, well, is that a laptop? What is that? Is it a 3DS? Like they just genuinely have a hard time wrapping their head around it. Yeah, so it's which is that the 3?
The
or
3?
Is it?
Yeah, the 3.
Yeah.
Fingerprint magnet. Yeah.
So it's always been surprising to me because the scene itself, the handheld scene, and how it's grown, because it's been a long time now. I mean, we go back down to 2008 when PSP was still there, and hacking a PSP was where the scene was, and Game Boy Advance, and buying a cart for the Game Boy Advance, and there's emulators for that. So the scene is
like
old.
R6 Gold flash cards or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yes. So it goes back really long, and it's always been this slow build, and it's really fascinating to me because there was this period of time where it was exceedingly unfashionable. Like you had from like 2011 to 2016, whenever the Raspberry Pi first came out, people were doing like Emulation Station and a lot of other stuff, and no one cared up until COVID happened. When COVID happened, when everyone had time, it was like, oh, I wish I can play these things. And then people started discovering it. And it was just like, where have you guys been? Like, I mean, like we've been doing this forever now. So there has been that explosion since 2020 and 2021 that this whole scene kind of just exploded, and it's been bubbling up. So yeah, it is really weird. And one of the reasons that I think, again, to kind of wrap this in a bow, is why they went with the GPD Win 5 as it was, is to present itself as a gaming handheld only and not have a keyboard, because a keyboard is geeky. And then once you start doing that, everyone just starts to like divide by zero, and they just can't understand what's going on. And that's why I personally think that they've done it. That doesn't mean that they won't do other things. I talk with them and they show me stuff, but the stuff that they show me, lots of times it doesn't even materialize. So there's no real reason for me to like talk about them because they're concepts. But there's like some really cool stuff that are clamshell design that would have these bigger giganto things on them.
The Win Mini is something that has always attracted me, and I told Matt this for months. What are you gonna say, dude? Like,
no, because he's stuck and he's sucking, and everybody starts to divide by 0. I'm like, oh shit, that was really funny, and I missed it because I was.
It took you a second to catch it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah. No, well, I was just saying, like, well, first of all, I love clamshells. It's something about that form factor that has always appealed to me, and it's just like a self-protecting design.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always fancied that, like the idea, and ever since even the GPD-1, I remember seeing it back around that time in 2015 or so, and on I don't remember where I was seeing it, maybe YouTube, maybe I don't know where. I don't even want to try to remember, but just always thinking to myself, like, man, like, is this the coolest 3DS I ever seen? Like, you know, because it is. It's a full computer, like. Not only is it a gaming device, but you could get a little bit of type emailing in, and I loved Blackberries, right? Like we're all from that era where we had like the Blackberries, the Sidekicks, all of these phones with physical keyboards, and dude, I missed that. I missed that era, and I was actually when I bought the INEO 3, I was really close to buying a white GPD Win. Look
at that,
dude. Yeah, dude, how do you still have that, dude? It looks super clean too.
Don't judge me. I work for a phone company. Get out of here, man.
But you're right. I mean, those keys are still like, you know, that as a thumb typeable keyboard for such a small device was, you know, the design philosophy and the design principles that they made for BlackBerry on that thumb typeable keyboard. It's not just like a little thing you just slap it together. It took a lot of time to design that BlackBerry.
That one's
keyboard.
Not as cool.
But yeah. So for me, like the GPD Win Mini is it's along the same lines of the original GPD Win 1, the GPD Win 2, and having something that is when you fold it down, so you still have a larger display, but now it becomes its dimensions shrink down. It has greater depth, but you still have a place where, like, I always put it in my back pocket. Where for any of these other larger devices, it's backpack only. I can't put it in any pocket.
Absolutely.
So. Also, when you're playing PC gaming, there are times when you just need a physical keyboard. That virtual keyboard either doesn't come up or obfuscates whatever you're looking at. So then you're just fighting trying to move it around with the touchscreen, and it's just a pain. So then you start mapping like just some random key to some button just so that you can just pass. It's like, man, if I just had a keyboard, I could have just pressed this one button and just got on with it.
I can't tell you how many times, even on the INEO 3, like it has a dedicated button for you to mash for the keyboard to come up, and I'll mash it. The thing never opens, dude. And I'm like, oh, come on. Now I have to go grab my little Bluetooth keyboard and like that's inconvenient. It's so inconvenient.
Yep. Yeah, these are the conversations I talked to Microsoft about at Gamescom, and I was just like, look, I'm not a big fan of the direction of how they're doing it because it's standard Microsoft for Windows. And there's a whole litany of issues that is a problem for Windows today that they continue to get punched in the face for. That is not, I guess it is their fault because they are just hands off. They're like, you know, we're not going to do this. You make the hardware, you make the drivers, you make the scheduler, you do all this, you figure it out. We're not going to do it. And it's not even an argument. One of the main reasons that MacBooks with the M1 and how good those things are is because Apple controls the entire stack.
Everything. Yep.
They are the power czar for the system. They do some crazy nonsense on MacBooks. Like if it is a bizarre, it's a battery backed device, right? So you don't really have to worry about something. Oh, if you lose power, well, you just automatically kick over to battery. You're not going to lose power. When you do something like Asahi Linux that can be run on MacBooks, when that first came out to MacBooks, when they started doing like tests on the disk, it was outrageously slow. And they were like, why is this so slow? It's so much faster on the MacBook. And it turns out that Apple is just playing fast and loose with your data. Like they're just flinging cache around that if there was a crash that happens, that transit in data, transactional stuff is gone. But they're like, well, you know, how many times is it going to crash? When was it going to crash? They're just like, that's what they're doing, right? So they're going full, like, so when people are using these devices, especially like for video editing and other stuff, and then battery life, you're like, why is this so good? And it's because they control that whole stack. And they control, like, Apple Silicon is, I'm not an Apple fan. I'm not an Apple fan at all, but I will sing the praises of Apple Silicon because they generally did a great job. And it's not outside of the wheelhouse. Like people always think about like ARM being this quintessential low power, high performance device. And it's not that x86 is incapable of this at all. I have showed this off many times that we can, in fact, match power. Now, some newer ARM architectures will beat out x86 inside of certain power scopes for single threaded compute. They will do that, and that's really good. Excellent. And they deserve all the credit there. But when you do like multi-core stuff at like 20 watt, all of a sudden x86 is taking the lead and easily. So it's like, oh, okay, that's where ARM is starting to fall behind, and you can see where the gaps are. So really the problem for x86 is that ARM as an architecture has been done such a good well of power gating a lot of the chip where parts of it will just shut off. And when it goes to sleep, it sips power. And x86, especially since they've abandoned S3 and gone to modern standby, it's gotten even worse. So I talked to Microsoft about this. I'm like, look, you know, they have two different devices that have two different standby functionalities. So you have the Xbox Ally non-X, the $600 one. That's a very Steam Deck-like device.
And is that S3 standby?
That's going to be S3.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, I mean, I have not tested this. I've not looked at it, but it is a Van Gogh chipset, which has S3. And then you have the Z2E, which is the HX370, which does not have S3. And in fact, if you try to force it on, you'll get nothing but crashes all day long. So you have two different devices that are going to be drastically different in terms of their sleep. Now, no one has done reviews of this, but I speculate that this is definitely going to be the case. I'm not sure anyone's actually like thinking about this because they're going to think about it as a one-to-one. But I was like, you know, I was addressing this. I'm like, you know, for modern standby, and Linus Tech Tips has done this countless times where modern standby is a plague. Where you close up your laptop, but it's still running, it's still doing things, and then you take it out of your backpack, and your backpack's all super hot, and you don't know what's going on. And you open up, and your battery's at 0%. You're like, what in the world just happened? And and so Microsoft has replied back to me about the questions that I asked, and they said that there is actually a deeper technical answer that I have to give. I could probably pull it up, but they are working more on, at least insofar as the Xbox Ally X, to improve standby in the Z2E version for the modern.
And that's what I was going to ask next. Is what you're answering now was, I was curious if they were leaving this all up to the manufacturer, like they normally do.
Yeah. So So to answer your question, the answer is generally yes. And I was like, you know, I was telling them, I was like, look, you guys have to be the power czar for this. You cannot wait for these OEMs. And I also talked about other things that the OEMs are doing for them. And they have done in the new Xbox full screen experience that they have, the controller X input is now a first class citizen insofar as
finally.
I know. Like, so UAC prompts and just being able to navigate with a controller. Now I talked to them. I said, now when this comes out, when it's generally available and not for any specific handheld, are you going to have mouse emulation that can be brought out from the game bar? And they said no. So like Asus, MSI, and all these other vendors, they're planning on OEMs to basically provide this.
Have their overlay, have their third-party software, first-party software, but you know, it would have been much better implemented by Windows themselves.
Exactly. And that's the bizarre thing to me, is because Windows has taken control. They have wrested control for a number of different things, like tablets. So it used to be, and you look at mouse touchpads, Synaptics used to be like the main driver for how all touchpads would work, and they were garbage. And then Microsoft's like, we got to do something. So now when you look at any of these, like these boutique Chinese devices that will come in that have a mouse touchpad. They're not using Synaptics. They're using Microsoft's own thing, and they're much better than Synaptics.
Right.
And you look at tablets and pen input. They have pen input at the OS layer to not need a person, a company, to make this whole software stack for that pen to work. So they have done it. They're just not doing it for gamepads. And what I kept on hearing was that they're waiting for feedback to see what people are going to say and how
Feedback from who, dude? I think
Yeah.
I mean, I think about like in the amount of hands, like there's a pen compared to a controller. Is like
Right.
I assume that there's way more controllers in people's hands than pens.
Right.
You know, yet the pen became a first class citizen, yet the controller cannot. So here we are with our handhelds. We'll be able to navigate and do what we have to do because of the manufacturers. But here again, where I was hoping like, oh man, this whole Xbox experience is finally going to give me the opportunity, because I cannot tell you how many times I've built a PC and I was like, yo, this is my living room PC, right? Like this is my console.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll use it for a few days and then something will piss me off. And I'll be like, I find myself getting up or grabbing that little keyboard with the mouse on it.
Yes.
And I'm like, and then all of a sudden it's there collecting dust because I don't want to deal with it. And I was like, finally, with the Xbox experience, they're going to open this up. I'll be able to have all my mouse controls and everything. And nope, here we go again, dude.
That's always been the downside for me with the home theater PCs. Always inevitably I end up giving up on it because that freaking media remote control that I spent all that money on just doesn't do it, and I still have to go get a mouse and keyboard. And I want to do that from the couch. I want to do everything with my controller, even if it's a controller or one of those universal media remotes or something like that. And it sucks. So I mean,
and for me, it's not just me, right? I want my kids to be able to pick it up and just use it like a console. I want my wife to just be able to grab the controller and use it, not have to go fish out a keyboard and a mouse. It's I don't know.
I had done a video on this a few months ago, and I still use it today, and I use it all the time. Like I played through God of War Ragnarok just recently on my Windows console that I have in my living room, and it's all through controller only. I don't touch anything, and I've never had.
When you did that, when you redid the kind of thing, and you did it all with the Xbox controller, I saw that video.
Yeah,
I thought that was the coolest thing, man. And we were just talking about that not too long ago too, a lot about how it was kind of his work on that kind of, I feel like, pushed Microsoft into doing this because
he kind of pushed me to want to start making another home theater system. I was like,
the unfortunately, and I didn't realize this when I made the video because I thought they were still available. The Xbox One adapter for PC is clutch for that entire experience. Now you can get like third-party ones, but they're kind of hit and miss. But that's the one that the official one. Like I put my console to sleep, the PC console to sleep, and I'll just turn my TV on, and I have an Android-based TV. Sony Android-based TV, and I'll just have it on the main menu, right? So the Google Android TV interface. I'll press the Xbox button in, and my machine will wake up, and it will auto switch the input to Windows, and then I have the mouse emulation automatically engaged, and then I just pick a game, it switches over, and then I'm in it. And it's such a seamless experience that I've been using it nonstop that I've just unplugged my PS5, I unplugged my Xbox Series X, I have a Switch 2 that's there. And my PC, and I've been using that. But yeah, I am waiting for the Xbox full screen experience just to come out.
Yeah. I think all of us are. I mean, most of us, when we saw the announcement of the Xbox Ally, like our biggest takeaway was not even the product itself, it was the interface, right? Like that's what it was, the biggest, like, oh my gosh, finally. Finally, I could get something to be. I'm thinking about all the devices that I can utilize this on, and how great it's going to be. And actually, I mean, and there's some cool things coming from it. And I'll give them credit on that. Like, I think it's called like the Xbox Play Anywhere. I guess like where we're going to be able to buy a game on PC's Microsoft Store, and then now we'll also own that game on Xbox.
Correct.
So that's pretty cool, But if I think that I think they're gonna, I don't know, dude. I feel like they're gonna miss out on a lot of people with this device because of the fact that it's not really an Xbox. You know, I've heard a lot of people, you know, in my own comments or friends talking about it, and the experience that they were expecting from it is not what they're seeing. And then also too, the fact that they're delaying on announcing the price to everybody is also creating a lot of worry. You know, I think this device is supposed to be released on the 16th of October.
Yes.
Yep.
And we still have nothing on price. And then now we see the Legion Go 2's pricing come out. And that thing is kind of gives you a little bit of sticker shock,
right?
And I just don't know. I mean, I have a question for you. I mean, I know that you've messed with it a bit at was it Gamescom? You got to mess with it at?
Yep.
Okay, well, most recently, I'm just curious, like, because I know that this seems to be the only device that's going to come out with the AI variant of the Z2 Extreme, and with that. Is the NPU really gonna make actual performance gain? Like, is there some way of utilization that this is gonna make the experience better, like than a standard Z2 Extreme?
So, well,
this
no,
the shader cache.
No, so
like
the NPU part of it first when they launch, it's not the Auto SR is not available, so it's coming later. So you won't even be able to make use of it initially on launch.
Right.
When it does eventually come down, it works in very limited capacities because you have to understand that it's a post process. The NPU is outside of the GPU, the entire GPU stack. So it's not like how FSR or XeSS are happening in tandem when you're building the game scene and the frame that goes to the frame buffer. You are doing all of that, finishing off the frame buffer, and then sending it off to the NPU. It's in the same memory space. The NPU then scales that out and pushes it back to the frame buffer. Effectively, what Microsoft is saying is that in all scenarios, whatever your render time is, it's n+1. So if you were spending 16 milliseconds on making that frame, it's going to take 32 milliseconds for that frame to show up on your screen. So there is in effect a 16 millisecond input latency when you enable.
That's what I was worried about when you started to say that it was separate from the GPU and that it would have to send. I was like, so this is going to create a latency issue.
So so basically what it is like Auto SR does not enable unless you are using extreme sub resolutions. And
oh wow, okay.
So because it's going to upscale, they're like, well, if you're rendering at 1080p, why would you put it to the NPU? It's already taking a bunch of render time to make a 1080p image. Don't send it to the NPU at all. So what they're saying is spend way less time on your render, maybe spend 4 milliseconds on a 360p image, send it to the NPU, and then the NPU will spatially scale that up and then send it off. So now you're 3 milliseconds and then 3 milliseconds. So you have a 3 millisecond input latency, which isn't terrible. And where does that pay? I don't know. There's like a matrix of like, I'm not really too sure. I'm not completely sold on the idea of that. Like for me right now, NPUs are the worst. And I personally feel like it's Microsoft pushing that on AMD and Intel, and it's more because like NVIDIA is so far ahead, but it's a waste of silicon on so many of these APUs that we would be better off quite literally doubling up on our memory controller and increase bandwidth than having the NPU. Just beef up the GPU and leverage all of that, any NPU, any top type of compute that you need, like trillions of operations per second type of thing, that there's nothing that's really using NPUs in any fashion on any of these devices at all. So
that's what I was thinking, especially when it comes to like a gaming centered device.
Yeah.
Like what is the benefit of this? Because I felt like even from the beginning, I felt like it was just marketing, right? It was just
the Auto SR, what a lot of people I mean, it kind of is. Yeah. So they're all telemetry stuff. That's actually one interesting thing that they're doing, and a lot of people might gawk at it, but the telemetry data that they do gather is actually beneficial for PC gaming side, because they get the telemetry data of the hardware configuration of what people are running, and they also get the telemetry data of the the performance of whatever game you're running is, and that goes into a database of like this matrix of all of this hardware is good enough for this game. So you can kind of like, I have this hardware, can I play this game? And it'll be like, these are the settings you should use, and these are this and that.
So that will help them with their compatibility chart, like that compatibility feature that they're trying to implement.
Yeah,
okay.
That's going to be, so when it gets to be like an agnostic type of the Xbox full screen experience, that they'll be able to do a better job, ostensibly, than
so before we went live, you caught me off guard. Before we went live, I'm like, you have to say ostensibly because you use it in every single video and every single thing, and you're gonna break my heart if you don't. So thank you, brother. You did that for me.
You're insane.
That it is, it has the capacity to be better than the Steam Deck verified system as it is currently. So that's pretty cool if that does materialize how they wish it to. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's a big question mark. But I can understand that Microsoft does have the wherewithal and the data to drive that. So that's an interesting angle. They're doing a lot of. I would argue that Valve with the Steam Deck and Steam OS have created the what people's expectations were for PC gaming handhelds and how GameScope works and how it seamlessly blends. Like, for all intents and purposes, when people are using a Steam Deck, I feel like they're using it more as like a handheld console versus than a PC. Like, they don't even use the PC functionality that a Steam Deck can offer. No. They're quite literally just using it as a game console.
Yeah.
I
And
don't. I could honestly say probably never. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's Windows ones, yes, but my Steam ones, not once. I don't think.
You know, that was actually interesting. And I saw someone at an airport when I was going to LA for an Asus event. And I saw him have an Asus and he was using Windows. And I was like, hey, do you like using Windows? He's like, oh yeah, I love using Windows. I was like, you wouldn't want SteamOS? He's like, oh no. And I was like, why not? He's like, I just know how to use Windows. And I was just like, yeah, everyone, you know, you have all the news of like how much better SteamOS is for gaming purposes. And they're not wrong. There's lots of reasons why it makes a lot of things easier. There's less friction. But when you come down to it, when you give someone a Linux desktop and you're like, how do I install things? How do I get anything
How
done?
do I find my files?
Yeah.
Oh, where is this located?
It's a learning curve. Yep.
Yeah,
it's a learning curve.
So
go into your terminal and go do this and this.
So it's funny you say that. And we've had this conversation a bunch of times. So everybody on the podcast are Windows gamers, and for me, it's to the most basic level. I like being able, and I know you can do tricks to get it, but I don't just get my games from Steam.
Right.
GOG. I get them from Prime. I get them from everywhere that I can. I'm trying to get to 9,000
Game Pass is
games,
a huge one.
You know,
like
that's Game Pass is huge, right? So
Game Pass is a huge one. Yeah.
So for me, I prefer Windows that way. Also, you can judge me. Talking back to the topic earlier, I like a physical keyboard because in my Windows games, I like to use cheats. If I'm playing a single player campaign, I'm turning cheats on. It's not so easy on Steam.
Oh, he cheats in everything, Carrie. Everything, dude. Like the day the game comes out, like Silk Song comes out, he's like,
I was like, where's the cheats? Where's the cheats? Where's the cheats?
I was like, bro, you
Silk Song was out for like 20 minutes.
You don't see if you can at least accomplish it first. Like, no, it's just straight cheats, dude. Like, okay, all right.
Silk Song came out. I'm like 10 minutes in and I'm streaming. He's like, how do you have all those hit points already? I'm like, just don't ask.
Hilarious, dude.
For me, it's like that. I mean, I get it, and I think, and Too Loud has said this for me, and I actually think I stole the phrase from you. But time to game. I get Steam has that, right? But for me, that's it. Everything else, I prefer Windows. Maybe I'm an oddball here, but I just do prefer Windows.
So I'll give my opinion on it, and what it is that like, so I had a Steam Deck initially, like I got rid of it probably 2 years ago, and for the longest I said, honestly, to me, Steam has the best controller system on any of the handhelds. Like, it's so comfortable. It feels just. It feels like a first-class controller, like a first-party controller in comparison to everything else. And I really enjoyed that. I really appreciate the whole front end of it. And But other than that, I'm a longtime Windows user. And I can respect everybody who's comfortable on Linux, but I'm not a programmer. I've never really had a reason to go to use Linux, besides just messing around, just seeing, hey, what does this operating system have to offer me? But other than that, like I'm not as fluent. I'm not as comfortable. When you tell me, hey, where did this go on Windows? I'll find it for you in an instant. Troubleshooting issues, I can find it in an instant most of the time. But on Steam, it's just not the same for me. But where I will say, so I have an original Legion Go 1, and I've been saying this to the guys in the crew lately, is that I think any handheld with 16 gigabytes or less of RAM, I prefer Steam on that handheld. I really do. It's so much less running in the background. The games just run better. They feel smoother. Even when they're at low frame rates, they still feel smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And, just everything. Even in the Legion Go 1, even the haptics feel better for some reason. It's just more. Okay, sorry. I got a text in from my wife. So everything just feels more smooth on a 16 gigabyte device because we're sharing that between the GPU and the CPU. But on anything with 32 gigs or above, I'll stick with Windows and just brute force my way through whatever.
I agree.
Yeah,
There's a number of things that Valve deserves a lot of credit for because they've been working on Proton for over a decade, and that was prior to even the Steam Deck existing. I actually had done a lot of Proton Linux gaming on the GP2Win1 and the GP2Win2. Those are old videos that you can still see of mine where I was showing it off, and I was like, this is pretty cool. It's not perfect, but it's fairly simple to get running. It didn't actually wasn't all that difficult to get going. But from all that work that they've done and focusing on Vulkan as the backend API and converting all APIs over to that is, will we see battery savings or potentially, or not? I'll answer that question in 1 second, Michael. What they have done with Fossilize, DXVK, all of these parts, and then there are certain games that Valve themselves have done work on to actually make better. So you have Cyberpunk 2077, which will always beat over Windows. You'll be when you're downloading the shaders, everything about it, how they're running it, it's always going to be like a smooth frame time graph. God of War 1 has a big improvements on SteamOS. Elden Ring, you talk about shader stutter on Windows PC, doesn't exist on SteamOS because of the work that they did to get that. So Valve has singled out a few big games, I guess, because more that the employees themselves actually wanted it, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. But the capability is there for any dev house to actually do that. Whereas now Microsoft is doing that. So now they're doing their shader delivery stuff on Windows, which they're going to first spring off with the Xbox Ally X and the Xbox Ally, where you can, insofar as on the Microsoft Store, initially, they will pre-download them. But the idea is that Microsoft is making a suite of APIs that targets am I running on a handheld? Do I need to increase font size because I know that the screen size is real small? All these things can now be programmatically done. And likewise, inside of that API, the game can download shaders for your device from the cloud rather than you needing to build them. But you have to launch the game first rather than doing it outside of the game like how Steam Deck does it now, or like how the Xbox Ally X is going to do it, because that will also download prior to you even launching the game. But this can work outside of Steam and outside of Microsoft Store, for Steam games. And tap into that. So Microsoft's doing all this stuff. So on the Windows side, regardless of whatever platform, whatever launch you're going to use, as long as the devs do the work, this feature set and functionality will be there. With regard to quickly about the Z2E having better battery life because there's less CPU cores, it remains to be seen how that actually works out, because the Z2E is mostly an HX370. And it could be that those CPU cores are still there. They're just inert. They're just disabled. And we've seen many times that when AMD does this, that the power spend is the same or worse than having a full functioning chip. So it could be that we do not get the benefits that you would anticipate getting because you're figuring the power balance that you are trying to control. Well, you're like, well, I have less CPU, so I should be able to extract more performance out of this with a specific amount of power. And that might not actually materialize to be true. We have to wait and see. So don't get your hopes up, is what I would say.
So that relates to a question that I actually had written down for you, and that is, the Z2 Extreme is would you consider it to be an equivalent to the HX370, which you've already answered? But do you expect them to trade blows in gaming performance, or one to be more dominant over the other?
Insofar as you might get some, because some of the boutique handhelds with the HX370, I don't know if they fixed any of the memory controller stuff because they are all running at 8,000 megatransfers. And when I first got the HX370, 8,000 megatransfers, at least insofar as the Agisa firmware that was on there, wasn't very good. So you pretty much had to go down to 7,500 megatransfers to actually get better performance. The only time that you got better performance with 8,000 megatransfers going to 1 gigahertz on the memory clock was very high power. So you were able to extract the gains from the GPU, but you had to push a ton of power into it before it paid off. So it didn't really make much sense. As far as we know, it's running at 8,000 megatransfers as it is just from the get-go. So potentially they have done some work on the Agisa side. This is not out of the ordinary for this to occur. We saw this happen with the 7840U to the 8840U from Phoenix to Hawkpoint. Effectively, they have the same chip, but the memory controller had a number of improvements that we got significant gains at lower TDPs. And I had covered that pretty extensively. So it's like 8840U did have some benefits, not so much that if you already had a 7840U, that would be recommendable at all. And with the bottom line here is, right, like, if you already have a PC gaming handheld, these devices are likely not to be recommendable at all. Like if you have an Ally, you have an LAX with Z1E, the performance improvement is going to be 20 to 30%, depending on whatever you're looking at. So why would you pay that money for that? Like you're not really extracting all that much. I don't know. Perhaps we'll see some different stuff. I have all of my previous benches from before, so I can directly compare it to before and after. We'll have to wait and see just how much. But I mean, again, even for the Z2 Evo, like HX370 handhelds, right? The cheapest version that I've seen is around $1,200, and that's for like so
the
if
A1X, right?
Yeah. Which I really liked. Like it was.
Matt's been digging that thing since day one.
I'm debating hard on getting that one. I really want to see what the reason why I haven't is because of the Ally X and it launching with the Windows experience, and that's the Xbox experience. That's the only reason why I haven't pulled the trigger on that one.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be honest. We were waiting on Legion Go 2, and then we saw that price, and we kind of flip flopped over to the Xbox Ally.
But I mean, like that OLED panel that is on that Legion Go is going to be like potentially sick. There might be VRR flicker. We don't know.
I saw a lot of people speculating on that.
So we have to wait and see. And there's lots of things that are going behind the scenes. But as it stands, like an 8.8-inch 1200p, 144 hertz VRR OLED display is baller. Like that is like the king of displays. Like it's nice and large. It's OLED, so you get fantastic response times, like instantaneous response times. It is just and like you cannot want. Also, the frequency range is 30 to 144, so it's great. It like there's nothing like everything about it is like, oh, it's native landscape. Like it's like everything that you can make a checklist for, it has it. The good news is like when you look at the A1X, they are using Lenovo's screen, the LCD, the 8-inch LCD that was on the Legion Go S. And I have talked to GPD, and I was like, hey, can you make use of this OLED panel? And he was like, I think we can. And I was like, sick. So there is potential for that to come.
Silly question, Michael.
Have you ever
got jokes?
Acer makes a Predator monitor that is 3D without glasses, and
really?
Yeah, you have to see it. It's exceedingly impressive.
There's a
very
new
So-
handheld that's coming out, the microphone called the Hollow,
Right, yeah,
Hollow
that's
Next. It's got it, yeah.
yeah, but that's that 11-inch big, like that's like a gigantic.
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
big, it's a
Mhm,
big one.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Glasses Free 3D has come a long way, and I it's a thing that you can't really demo, right? Like when
Yeah.
you show like on the YouTube videos, like look at the HDR on this. And it's like if you're not, when you're looking at an HDR screen yourself, it's like, well, I don't see anything. So it's one of those things where you have to communicate to the person as best you can and just like really
It's like demoing XR glasses. It's like
yeah, I genuinely hate like whenever I talk about XR glasses, I have to like use surrogate imagery to
Yep.
represent what I'm trying to
this is what I'm seeing, and you're pasting this box over the
Yeah,
screen,
because
like,
you literally can't do anything else. And it's also not for nothing how it looks on my skull might not be how your eyes are spaced, how you're
Right.
like you're gonna have a
how
totally
how it's gonna sit on the bridge of your nose, or how high up
Mhm.
on your ears it is.
it is genuinely a difficult thing to X-rails are great. It is a genuinely hard thing to try to communicate. I try to do my best. I think that they do have a place. Main reason I love like the XR glasses is laying down in bed.
I love
because
them for that.
Yeah, just laying down in bed as is because there was like a joke a long time ago when the Switch 1 came out. I made the Switch visor. I don't even know if it's still on my channel. But it was a joke, and I made a XR thing for the Switch. So I made a 3D printed thing where I put the Switch in a visor so that I could lay down.
That's funny. That's
Big
funny.
old box on the front of your face.
And but I mean, genuinely, I was like, I wanted to play while laying down because there was no comfortable way. But Joy-Cons, when you detach them, you could just keep your arms like comfortable or wherever you want.
That's what I liked about the Legion Go, right?
Right.
Like that's the whole. That's why I tell Matt and everybody who hadn't gotten to experience the first one was like the versatility of the Legion Go is like it's so amazing because you could do so many different things with it. Literally, I'd plug in, I'd get the Legion Go, I'd take off the tablet portion, put it on my nightstand, plug in my Vitsures, and just have my two controllers at my side and playing. And I don't have extra light bleed through in the room, to bother my wife or my baby that's there. It's so comfortable. You have speakers already built into the bands. And it's a nice experience. I mean, is it for everybody? I don't think it's going to be, right? Because there's people who literally like they're gonna spend just as much on lenses, or they're going to it's gonna give them a headache. Some people, I've heard people say it's giving them a headache and things like that. But for me, it's been pleasurable. I really like the experience, and it's just really hard to share that experience.
So interesting. So I've been interested in the X-Ray-O or the AR glasses, XR glasses, and I hadn't gotten them because we have 3 VRs here. My Curry, you don't know, my kids are spoiled. You can think of it, they got it, right? So we have 3 VRs. They got Quest 3s, and they got what's the other one? The
other VR headsets?
Yeah, the big one, the Valve one, the
Index.
Yeah, they have an Index, and so, and I never thought about it, and but I just thinking and listening to you guys talk, I can't wear that thing in bed. That's actually a really good idea, and I think it just gave me an excuse to blow some money. So if my wife calls,
sorry,
you guys are getting the
well,
blame.
Put it on Carrie this time because you put so much on my name, dude. Like you can give it to somebody else for once, bro.
Hey, speaking of which, I'm gonna derail this for a second. Didn't we talk about wearing like superhero shirts? And Carrie and I got good superhero shirts. This guy's wearing a Homer Simpson shirt.
He's a superhero.
Get with
dude.
the program.
What are you talking about?
Get with the program, dude.
No, I didn't get the memo, but whatever. Homer's awesome. I didn't get the memo. And if I was wearing a superhero shirt, it wouldn't be some chump ass DC one. It would be Marvel all the way.
Gosh.
I just want you to know that.
How dare you?
Hey, I wanted to be clear. I wore Superman shirt last week, Thursday. So
oh my gosh. Hey, before I want to derail this for a second.
It's time for question of the day.
That's an amazing segue.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Worked on it all by myself.
So this is when
Oh.
do I get to ask now? Is this
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
sick. Okay, so here's my question for you guys, and it will lead into something. Suppose you had a handheld that was capable of producing the same fidelity as a PlayStation 5. Same fidelity. Exactly the same. How much would the price be for that?
Ooh.
Like, what is your like? Oh, okay, I can play the PS5 anywhere. This is as good or better than a PS5.
Wow.
Think of the Lenovo Legion that isn't, but now think of something that is. And what is the price that you'd be like, okay, I can see that. What is that price?
So that's a great question because I sit there and I'm like, oh my gosh, right? I'd spend $1,500 on it, but then why wouldn't I just buy a PS5?
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So I mean, that's
It's not portable.
I'm gonna say high fidelity. It's got to have an OLED, and the claw has ruined me, so it's got to be 8 inches. I want to say $1,000. I'm gonna say $1,000 because and this is preface it by saying because I'm a freak and I'm spending that kind of money and I'm looking at an A1X which doesn't even have an OLED and it's $1,300. And I just had an F1, mind you, I just had an F1 Pro which I got rid of because I wanted the 8-inch with the 80 watt-hour battery.
Sure.
So I think all right, $1,200. I say $1,200. It's got to have OLED, and $1,200 max. Got to have OLED, and I think I want 8-inch screen.
Okay.
So, and it's got to be Windows because I'm going to run cheats.
There's no wrong answer here. I'm asking like your gut reaction of like, oh, that is amazing, but I'm only going to go up to this. Like there is no, I'm not passing this. This is the barrier.
$1,200 is the most I'm going to be able to spend without my wife whooping my tail.
Okay.
So are we looking at like currently on the market, like the price range of what devices cost or what we want, what we wish for?
So what we wish for is I like to get to $1,000 or even $800. And then next is to get to those prices, like of 800 more reasonable price tag. We're in like 2027. Like we have to wait until that point to start approaching where this becomes a more reality.
Yes.
But the real reality is that the GPU Win 5 that I should be having like soon, like in a few days, is quite literally a PS5 or better. So
and that's where I was going with this because like for me my answer would be like if it was a today thing, like right now this current market,
right,
like reasonably I would have to say like probably $2,200 because that's the type of price range that you're gonna get that type of performance from. You know, you have to step up to at least like the HX 395. It's a lot. Like when you're thinking like you're thinking 4 times more than a PS5.
Yeah.
You know, to have a portable PS5, like an actual legit, like he said, the fidelity of a PS5 in your hand.
Yeah, or better.
I don't think so. And then you mentioned the Win 5. Their marketing says starting at $1,999. So that's starting at $1,999 for the HX 385, right?
$395.
Yes. Well, no, but I mean they're going to have 2 models, right? So starting
they're going to have 2. Mind you, I don't know what the actual like I've asked them the price and they have told me that they have not solidified on a price just yet. So I don't know, and I'm not, and this is not me like, oh, you know, this is what people are going to like. They're going to price this whatever they're going to price it at. Like I care more about what your guys like. Oh, I could have this today instead of waiting until 2027. I can travel into the future. I can get in my time machine and get that device today.
Yeah.
What is that price limit, right? Like what now for me, this is like a super enthusiast handheld. And it's like, I have a 4090, but I paid $1,700 for my graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. But I recognize that. Like I recognize that that's insane. And not, you look at the Steam charts and it's less than 1% of people have a 4090.
Oh, absolutely.
So I understand.
You have a 4090 to play indie games, Gary?
I mean, I did.
360 FPS, bro. 4K.
Yes. On his 8-bit
collection of.
Yes, it's but I'm regardless of that. The thing is that
Just trying to derail him, bro.
there are enthusiast devices that we don't really have. Like the enthusiast devices that we have is this going to be this Legion Go now. I got 1300, 1350 for that like first OLED model, right? Like that's like, oh man, that's like super enthusiast. I would love to have that OLED panel. But if you cared about performance, like just getting absolute best performance that you can possibly get in a handheld. Now, mind you, when you're pushing 45 watt on this device, how loud is this thing going to be? I don't know. I'm going to find out soon. And what kind of battery life am I going to get when I'm pushing this 45 watt? So you have to really like think about, so like in the handheld, when you're actually using it portably, you're probably going to be using it at 25 watt in all realities, because you would like to have at least 2 hours of battery life. But at 25 watt, you are going to spank everything that's out there. And when you push it up to 55 watt, you're quite literally starting to match what the PS5 is capable of.
So at 25 watts, it will smoke an HX370 even at 35 watts.
Oh yeah, it's gonna oh yes, oh absolutely, yeah. Wow. Because bandwidth.
I haven't got a chance to mess with an HX395, so I'm
so
in the blind here.
You're quite literally, so like you have two things of bandwidth that is driving all of the performance on the HX3 the Halo Strix Halo, the 395 plus or the 385, doesn't matter. Most of these have 32 megabytes of MAL last level cache that is for the GPU. Now that is in tandem with the increased bandwidth for the system itself. It's a 256-bit wide memory controller, so you can do like 220 gigabytes as opposed to like 110 in like not theoretical, in reality of what you're actually able to achieve. So you get double the bandwidth. And when you look at GPUs and look at CPUs, they're two different mindsets, right? They always talk about GPUs like in waves. But if you were to think about it as a CPU actually cares more about the frequency of RAM or how fast your cache is. So you care about an express lane. You want cars on this lane to go 500 miles an hour. And for a GPU, you kind of don't really care that it goes 500 miles an hour. If it can go 60 miles an hour, but it has 16 lanes or 32 lanes, and you put all these trucks with payloads of data, and you're just driving this data in, that is what the GPU is waiting on. So the GPU is waiting for this large bandwidth set, and a CPU is just looking to execute fast, but it has so much cache that it's like when you start looking at, like when you start moving the decimal point over to expand and zoom out to understand like what L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache to memory, like how fast, how long a CPU is waiting to do work. Like L1 cache, as an example, it might wait a day to get data in. And then for L2 cache, it might wait 3 days. And then for L3 cache, it might wait 2 weeks. And then by the time it's waiting for system memory for that to come in, it's going to wait 6 months. Like when you start, like when you're talking about like the nanoseconds to microseconds differences, when you start moving that decimal point over, you're like, oh, the CPU and GPU, they're doing so much work that they're literally waiting for information to come in to start executing on it. So that is really like the biggest hurdle. And they've solved a lot of that on the CPU end, which is why it's not so much. We have so much CPU. We have CPU for days on all these handhelds that we have, because they're typically laptop chips that get converted into handhelds. So they're not handheld first chipsets. Like Van Gogh is more of a handheld chip than anything on the market. Everything else is laptop first. And the problem with the HX370 is that AMD puts 16 CUs on the GPU and runs at 2.9 gigahertz. We have a crazy amount of compute. Like you're like 60% of a PS5 capability. And then it's like, look at this engine. And then you put a coffee straw to give it fuel. And it's like, go ahead. Just feel like, what are you going to do?
No, dude.
You know? But that's literally what it is. They put this big honking engine on there, and you can't feed it. So you the only thing that they do is they do this like stupid numbers game where everyone gets fooled into believing that like, oh, that has 12 teraflop of compute. And it's like, well, yeah, but in reality, you're only going to achieve 2.5 or 3 teraflop if you're lucky. And that's where things come down, is like, in reality, we have that 256-bit wide on.
So
Strix
is it
Halo.
because of the RAM? Is it because of the
Yeah.
the L cache, or is it because of the power limitation? Like
So
what?
Yeah, on handhelds as we have them today, it is a bandwidth limitation that is holding us back. Like when we start pushing power, like you have massive diminishing returns after you start pushing over 18 watts. So like to give you an example, on typical handhelds, HX370, 8840, whatever it is, all of these are pretty much similar.
Yeah.
Typically, going from 15 watt to 18 watt is a 10% performance increase. The next 10% performance increase is going from 18 watt to 28 watt. And so you have to push 50% more power to achieve 10% more performance, which that exchange doesn't really make much sense. Like, especially if you're running on a handheld, you're really starting to balance. Like you'll start like doing, well, maybe I'll just do 17 and 18 watt because that is the best value. That's that's value town for you for what you're getting out of it.
Yeah, giving you better battery consumption, better battery life. It's less fan noise, less heat.
It's strictly because, like, when we push more power into it, the system will gladly start pushing clocks. And it's like, oh, I got all this power. Let me start chewing up clocks. And then those clocks are running, but they're just sitting and waiting. They're like, where's the data? And they're just sitting there. So they can do that faster, but that performance increase, once you start going to like 28 watt and going to 35 watt, so like the difference between 28 watt and 45 watt and like an HX370 is about 4%. And you're like another 50% more power, but you can see how like the diminishing returns just is like awful. But if we just had more bandwidth, then you're going to see this nice cleaner line. And that's where you see mostly on the Strix Halo. And Strix Halo, because it has 32 megabytes of very fast last level cache for the GPU only, this is like 32 megabytes is perfect for a 1080p frame buffer. So when you're running in a 1080p space, you are basically able to just feed that GPU constantly. So you're buffering the data into that 30. So you don't have enough bandwidth to give you an idea. Okay. Just to give you an idea, Strix Halo, is 40 CUs at 2.9 gigahertz. If you were to push all power into the GPU and power this, you would need about 120 watts. Okay. Wow. But inside that sphere, we are equal to the GPU strength of a PS5 Pro. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But we don't have the bandwidth to feed that. We don't have the bandwidth to feed that. So basically for Strix Halo inside of 1080p and GPU bound scenarios, diminished return starts around 45 watt. So you see that bandwidth limitation around that 45 watt. We can push 200 watts into Strix Halo, no problem. Like to do 16 CPUs at full clocks, 5.1 gigahertz and 2.9 gigahertz on 40 CUs, it's like 250 watts needed. Now you will never hit that ever. Like there's nothing that's going to cool that off. No one's making any device for that. All of like the mini PCs that are making Strix Halo, they go to like 120 watt. And the difference in performance from like 55 watt to 85 watt is like you can see it's like, oh, here's another 6%, here's another 6%, and it's nothing. You're just pushing all this power into it, and you're getting less and less gains. But because of that 32 megabyte of mall cache, that's where we really start to catch up to what the PS5 is capable of. It is almost enough watts to go back to the future. 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's
that's interesting, man.
Yeah,
that's incredible. I mean, it's nuts that you have that, and immediately, because I'm not as tech savvy as you, all I'm thinking is, good God, how hot and how loud is that device?
Right. Yeah. So that's the big word. Now, so one of the things that GPT has done, which has a lot of people are like kind of on and off. You know what's funny is there's a lot of people that have always talked to me that they're like, when I play my handheld, I only play plugged in, and I'm like, okay, like that's interesting. So the GPT Win 5, because the battery is removable, the entire device has this very large fan on it. Instead of having a smaller fan, because you also need to include the battery inside of the internals. They also like have what on Chinese forums they call it the urine bag. So you can like put a wire to the external battery and kind of like just cable it off so you can clip it onto your pack.
The urine bag.
Yeah, they call it the urine bag.
My concern with the external battery, dude, is to me, when I look at images, and I don't know if it's a big concern or not, but it looks like it blocks off a large portion of the intake.
It does indeed, and that's like a genuine question. Like how I will be able to tell you how bad that or but that is a genuine question that I have. Even when when they first gave me the tech specs of the device that I could make a video on, like I was talking to him, I was like, the battery is external. I was like, it's like, oh yeah, it clips on. I was like, oh, it's like a okay, I'll tell it's a backpack. And that's exactly how it was. But when I was like making the thing and I was like doing this, and I'm like, is this gonna cover the fan? Like, yeah, and sure enough, it does. Yeah. So there, it remains to be seen how this impacts. We don't know. Does it make it louder? Because is there air turbulence when you put the battery on? Does that impact how loud the fan is to run? Potentially. So there's all these questions that I have that I will be able to answer later. But for right now, I have no particular answer. But it is a curiosity.
Maybe it's one of those devices, Matt, that I'm gonna walk around with my EcoFlow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have a 1 kilowatt EcoFlow, and I brought it on the show one time. Like, this is my portable battery for my INBO 3.
So, what was if there was one standout thing, and I'm referring to x86 or whatever that you're looking forward or came out of Gamescom this year? What is it? Is it the are you how excited are you for the Xbox LX? Or are you excited? Are you more excited for the Win 5?
So I'm more excited for the Win 5 because of the performance that we will be able to get today. Because it is quite literally like time traveling into the future, because we are not going to get RDNA 5 based APUs until 2027 in all likelihood. So we're still 2 years away, which is a long time. Yeah. So we're in for we have been in the same performance arena since 2022. It feels long in the tooth. Nothing is not exciting at all. And more to the point, when Steam Deck has taken it on the chin a lot. Like every time a new game is coming out, these games are running at sub 30 FPS with like low settings. And that is counter to many people's idea of what PC gaming means. PC gaming in a lot of people's frames of mind, because it was always the PC Master Race is like, you console peasants, now so the idea that people have for PC is like, oh, this is premium. But when you have a Steam Deck, it's not expensive, but it's also it's like, oh man, this is like, oh okay, I'm noticing the compromises, and we need that next generation GPU to kind of. You have to understand, I bring up the GP2 Win 2. When the GP2 Win 2 came out, that was still too early for PC gaming handhelds. It was still a good device, but it was still too early. Like a lot of DX11 games did not run very well at all, and we didn't have resolution scaling like we do today or anything else. So it was just not able to brute force anything. So you were really limited in what you were playing, but also indie games were very great on that device. So I was super happy. But the where we were for that, with RDNA 2 coming to the Steam Deck, the Steam Deck getting it a bit earlier than everyone else, that was the best performance that we had to date. Yeah. And yet it was the bare minimum of what mainstream would find acceptable. So that is the reality that we find ourselves in, is that all of these devices quite literally are just good enough. And the only thing that we've been doing is pushing more power into these devices to get more performance out of them. And we're getting much better. And then when you have FSR3 and using frame, I can hit 45 FPS with these low settings. With frame gen, I'm hitting 90 FPS. It feels good. And that's okay, this is dope. This is nice. But you are pushing so much power into these devices, and it's we're making all these compromises. Yep. So Strix Halo, we're still going to have to push power into it to really get stuff out of there. Now I'm going to be very happy with the 25 watt and 30 watt scope, but the reality is that you can dock this machine. It really needs to be said that 16 CPUs of Zen 5 is going to obliterate most everyone's desktop. The GPD Win 5 is better than most everyone's desktop PC in terms of just CPU performance. Like if you were like, oh, I wonder how this is going to be for video editing. It is monstrous. It will eat your children. It will just devour.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
So, I mean, when you look at it from that thing, it's like, oh man, this thing is just too much. So whenever I look at people recognize the performance of it. This is a Ferrari of handhelds, and I understand that, which is why I try to gauge what people are like. We're also not for nothing. Like it's tough for everybody. So like costs are increasing. You know, a McChicken by me is $3.50, and that used to be $1 in 2019. So it's just like
used to get 2 cheeseburgers for $1.
Right. And it's just
they had like 50-cent cheeseburger Wednesdays or something. You remember?
Right.
Like,
no idea what you old guys are talking about. No idea what you old fuckers are talking about.
20 nuggets for $5.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's long gone. So it's
it is.
I commiserate with everyone, and I understand. And this is for better or worse, just an enthusiast product. But I'm just trying to so that's the question I gauge is like, okay, you like $1,200 is like the absolute premium, and it might be that in 2027 when RDNA 5 comes out and we actually get that performance increase where this is going to come down. You can get 2 Legos for 1, go 2. Two
Legion goes
for 1.
G.
Oh, you're talking about like if you buy like open box or refurb or I mean, yes. That is the reality, right? Like, how do you recommend the Xbox Ally X? Is it just for the full screen experience? And when the Ally X with Z1E and 80 watt-hour battery, that is still one of the main things that I recommend to people because it's still a very good handheld generally. And I have seen those go on sale for like $600. So it's like, okay, it's $600. And how much better is the Xbox Ally X? If it's only 30% better and it's $900, it really becomes difficult. And it's a hard time for everybody. And the problem is that costs are increasing because of inflation, but also costs are increasing because the latest nodes that we want to use the latest chips are mega expensive. So we're between a rock and a hard place right now. We're literally the value of our dollars.
Honestly, I tell a lot of people like shop secondhand. Honestly, I do. It's hard to beat it, right? Like Matt was there. I bought a Lego one from somebody for $250. Like, how can you beat that? You know,
that's amazing.
You can't, you know. And then here I am with an INEO 3 for $1,400. Right, and it's like, dude, this is not giving me that much performance gain over this for over $1,000 more, right? Like, just being honest.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's where it all comes down to. And it's like whenever I'm like in the can I recommend this part of the thing, I try to distill all the benchmarks down to like a number. And it's like, okay, you're getting 20% better performance, and this device costs 40% more. That doesn't the math doesn't work. Yeah. And at that point, you have to really start like, well, I just want that extra performance, and I'm going to pay the premium.
Yes,
and
you have to just admit that. Yep.
Yeah, so it becomes an enthusiast only thing, unfortunately. And where unfortunately, like if we think about like the Steam Deck 2 that's going to be using RDNA 5, whatever Valve is going to wind up using, everyone hopes that they're going to still hit that like $400-$500 mark, but I would put a little pin in that and say that Valve recognizes that the most sold unit that they have is the most expensive unit that they make.
Also, too, like they could subsidize, but to a point, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, they do. They genuinely do. Like the Steam Deck as it is near to cost as it possibly can be, including the whole logistics package of like boxing it up, the manufacturing, the whole kit and caboodle, right? Like how they get it to your door, to your hands, that cost is pretty much bare bones for them.
I mean, the fact that you were getting a base model in 22 for $350 was mind blowing. Like that price will probably, honestly, with inflation and the way things are, everything are going, like we'll never honestly
Nope.
see that price again. As much as
No.
it hurts to say that, we'll never see that price
Yeah.
again.
Oh yeah. I try to like massage that in every now and again, because the PlayStation 6 handheld, even though it looks like a small APU, so it's not a large die, I anticipate that it's going to be $500 for the PS6 handheld.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like that's like people
Look
like
at the
it's
new Switch 2, right?
yeah, 450, right?
450.
Yeah.
You know,
So
Mhm.
I
what can we
fully
expect?
anticipate like 500 being like the absolute basement of what the PS6 handheld is going to cost. Now, the PS6 handheld should be far more performant than the Switch 2.
Yeah.
And what you get for it, the value, truthfully speaking, the PS5 Pro, even though it's expensive, is good value for what is in there. Now, I know that this is like kind of the same thing of like saying the difference between simple and easy is vast. Something can be simple, but it's not easy. Like, if your arm is pinned by a rock, the simple answer is that you have to cut it off. It's not easy to cut your arm off.
No,
It's just
no.
it's just a simple answer. like
Yeah.
like that's where we're at. And
Yeah.
the PS5 Pro is good value for what is in it, but it's still very expensive for a console, and
Yeah.
there's sticker shock that's there. So, but we keep on going there, and as we approach better and better nodes, it is hockey stick prices for these things. So it is only going to get more expensive, and yeah, it's like we also have tariffs now. So
Man, dude,
Yeah.
you took the words right out of my mouth.
yeah,
Like,
So-
and you think about it, right? Like, think about where we were at the even like just this whole current gen of console, even before the Pro, like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X at their original release, like how much was it to build a PC that could give you the fidelity that those consoles were giving you?
a lot more. Like it was like
You know,
double.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
at least double, right?
Yeah.
And man, it's just and the sticker shock of those devices when they came out, right? Like everybody was like, "Oh my god, $500 for an Xbox, $550 for a PlayStation." People were mind blown.
Remember when
And then
PS3
COVID
came out?
happened, and then
Yeah,
everybody was
right.
scalping the PS5s, and you couldn't find a PS5 for less than 1,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And and then that shows, and that's the other part that really sucks, right? Is with the scalping when they're selling them at these prices and they're still being sold, it kind of shows the manufacturer like, hey, we might be able to get away with bumping up the price a little bit,
Right. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's just where we live at, and this is capitalism, and it's gonna happen. It's going to happen.
So around this conversation around price and something else that Kerry said about Valve knowing what they have, and that their highest selling unit is the high end OLED, the 1 terabyte OLED, right? I also wonder, with Xbox endorsing the next Ally and PlayStation on launching a PS6, I feel like this hobby is going to become more mainstream now. I think it's going to become more popular, and people.
Oh, it already is.
Yeah, and it's definitely with the Legion Go and people it blowing up. I hope that there's going to be some impact to that, because a lot of times you have those situations where manufacturers do subsidize the cost, and it brings up the price of stuff down. To Carrie's point, we're looking at chipsets that we need to meet the market, not being able to do that. But I'm hoping we're going to see something, because I think if we go to an area like a market where everything's $1,500, I don't know if it's going to be successful. I don't know if that's a sustainable, and I also don't think that's within Valve's business model, right?
Not
So
for a large consumer base, right? Because
right. So I'm curious where they're going to go with that.
Make it into a niche again. It wouldn't be as widespread, and I think that when you look at that price set, look, the Switch 2, everybody was upset about the Switch 2's pricing at launch, yet that thing sold like hotcake.
Yep.
It sold absurdly well, and I think Steam knows, like they're a smart enough company to where like they're not going. I don't think that we'll see a Steam 2 for $1,500. Like, now will we see a Steam 2 for $900? More than likely. Right.
I think that's still a concern. I think that's still that's a tough sell.
So for the one problem that Valve had the one thing that Valve doesn't do is they don't sell to Best Buy. They don't do to any brick and mortar. They just do through Valve Direct. So they still have done the numbers that they've done with only that route for them, not counting Japan, which does have brick and mortar. That whole like chain is from them alone. They could do better if they were to do brick and mortar and stuff, but then there's going to be costs that they're going to have to consider, because now the retail establishment is going to have to make their money from it.
They're 15% or whatever.
So it starts increasing the cost, and there's just a bunch of those ideas, right? Like how you do it, but it's I don't think Valve cares about the price of the Steam Deck. The original Steam Deck, I think that they had anticipated the $400 model when like it was like their base model. That was going to be the one everyone bought. It turned out it wasn't. So they already have the data that people are paying $600. Like that to them is the actual barometer for what these things are going to cost. They do have the advantage of when they sell on Steam that they do make a cut, so that because it's only Steam games that you're getting on there. Now you can install other ones, but it's not very convenient. So chances are people are just going to be buying on Steam directly. The reality though is that, and for better or worse, is that even like every analyst is like analyst agency, like for me, like, I don't know for you guys, right? Like for your kids, my kids play on Roblox or Fortnite, and they play on an iPad or PC. I bought my son a Switch 2. He doesn't use it at all.
Nope.
Like it literally. So my kids are only on Roblox or Fortnite, and he literally does not care about a console. He doesn't care about these retro handhelds. I think we are the dying generation that cares about consoles. And
that sucks, dude.
That sucks. Like
it's
not,
true, but it sucks. It does.
Yeah, I mean, like Microsoft has already conceded.
I see it in my household. The same exact thing you're saying. I see it at my house.
Yeah. Both of my kids are PC gamers. Both of my kids are PC gamers all day.
For like, this is a funny thing. Like kids, this is a funny thing that I always see bring up, because I remember fondly when I was a child, when I was 8 years old, and I watched. Have you guys ever seen Heavy Metal, the cartoon?
Yes.
I saw that when I was 8. I thought it was the best cartoon in the world. I was like, this is a cartoon, but I was 8 years old. And
This is a cartoon.
It was wildly inappropriate for me to watch it, but I still did. And it's fine. Like the thing is that children have a larger capacity than society gives them credit for to understanding, to read between the lines, that they clearly understand that there is nothing written and nothing said, but they understand social capital and what's cool, and they want to they understand the palpable tension. They can read the room, that they are with it. So when a kid is playing a game, watching media, doing anything, they have this sense. And I never get worried, and I've always allowed my kids to just do whatever. And I know other parents like, oh, I would never do them, but I remember when I was a kid, and it didn't do anything bad for me, and like having that information was just more information, and it's not bad or good, and it's not garbage in, garbage out. Everyone is impacted in their own different way. Regardless of that, the reason I bring all that up as like I lay up to this one instance, I forever tried to get my kid to use keyboard and mouse, because that's what I was like, it's elite, right? Like, you gotta know how to do keyboard and mouse. Like controller, fine, you can do it, but you gotta know keyboard and mouse. And whenever I said anything, my son intuitively, without speaking and without saying anything, knew that I was uncool. And whatever I said was not cool. And as much as I tried to get him to use keyboard and mouse, he wouldn't do it. But when he saw a YouTuber using keyboard and mouse, all of a sudden he had to use a keyboard and mouse. Yeah, he had to use a keyboard and mouse. And I was just like, I was like, man, like, and it dawned on me, like the whole thing of like me being a child and like recognizing stuff. Kids are far more in tune with stuff. And there's this unspoken word that happens. Anyway, I feel like that has happened largely, that keyboard and mouse is understood that that's a social capital for kids, that is where the cool people play stuff. And better or worse, like that's why PC gaming has been growing, is because of this. You like content creators and everyone else just kind of
streamers.
Yeah, so they see
Yeah.
keyboard and mouse, they see that, and then they're like, well, they're not using a controller, they're using keyboard and mouse, and then they start using it. Not for nothing, my son is sick with keyboard and mouse now. Like, I mean, sick, and I couldn't be prouder.
Yeah. My son and my daughter. So my son is he's about to be 14. He is absolutely spoiled. He has every console there is. He has all the handhelds. Doesn't use
Spoil
any
'em
of them
right.
anymore. Doesn't use
Spoiled
anything.
kid.
Only PC. Only
Yeah.
PC. Okay. My daughter, 10 years old. Matt was around when she came to me and started this maybe about 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Daddy, I want a PC. I want a PC, Dad. So I had a little tower that I used to actually use for my media box for the TV, and I was like, well, shoot, this thing could run what you're playing. You're playing Roblox and Fortnite, you know. So
Yeah.
I set it up for her, and I mean, it felt like overnight she got the hang of keyboard and mouse. She's like, Dad, come here, look at me do a 360 no scope, like, you know. What? What?
Yes.
It's amazing though, and it makes me proud too, right? Like, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's funny because like she was strictly before that, she was strict. She had an Xbox Series X, and she played that every day, and now that thing is a media player. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
that's her Netflix machine,
Right.
and it just shows that they can and they do pick up on those cues. And now my daughter, she's 10, like I said, she's 10, and she comes to me and tells me about keyboards. Like, Dad, did you see that Hall Effect keyboard? And I like the thunky one, and this and that, and like, oh, like, girl, you're 10. Like, she's like putting things in my Amazon cart, like $280 keyboards and stuff. Like,
Right.
girl, I'm not buying you that keyboard. Like, it can be as cool as you want, but I'm not buying you
Oh,
that
God.
keyboard.
Right.
I'll buy you the same keyboard as me, you know?
Right, but
I don't want that cheap crap, Dad.
it's truly amazing. And you know,
It is. It's awesome.
we should, circling back to what we had talked about earlier with Microsoft having the telemetry data, I would wager that Microsoft, with the Xbox and being on Windows PCs and having everyone, they had all the telemetry data showing that people were using console less and PC was growing. And they had that data, and then they also had to use the data because they were losing in the console space. But they saw it and executed on it. And I mean, not for nothing, people always dog on Game Pass for this, that, or the other, but I would not play anything Xbox if Game Pass didn't exist.
Yes. Yes.
Like, Game Pass is like the only reason I'm like using Xbox anything. If it did, I would just be Steam only. There would be no reason I use the MS Store. Game Pass is quite, and I get everyone's worries about what it can do. I look at it on the other end that I would hope that Microsoft, and they have, right? Like, you look at Oblivion, they've been making AA games. They haven't been making AAA games. They've been making games in the span of like 3 to 4 years, not doing these 8-10 year, $400 million projects. They're doing smaller scope ones, which again, because the indie games, I prefer conceptual stuff. You know, it's better to have a game that's like 8 hours long that is interesting and different rather than the same thing over again, because you're not going to compete with Call of Duty. You're not going to compete with FIFA. You're not going to beat those big guys. So if you're a streaming service, you have to offer variety. And I appreciate the approach, and I played more games on Game Pass. And one of the things that I always loved is that I have played more games day one because of it, and I get to enjoy the zeitgeist of playing. Yeah, of like being able to play with everyone. I was like, Silksong, I just got it on Game Pass, and I've been able to play with other people. So
yeah, I do. I 100% appreciate that. I to me, I find such a good value in Game Pass.
Sure.
Especially the fact, like you said, like day ones, like we're getting so much games day one. Right. Tony Hawk 3-4, Silksong, the Call of Duties, like, you know, with them purchasing the whole Blizzard and everything, it gave them even more games to give us day one. Right. And it's a really good value. I enjoy it, but like you said, if it had not been for Game Pass, I wouldn't be buying stuff on Xbox like that. There's no reason. So, there was zero reason.
I look at it from a consumer standpoint. I can't tell you how many games I've played that were terrible, and I don't feel bad about it. Versus how many times before Game Pass you bought a game and you're like, man, this game sucks. I can't believe I spent $60 on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a couple. You know, I I paid for Crackdown 3.
Okay.
There you go. I actually purchased Crackdown 3 in the store. I was excited about it. That game was awful, man.
Right.
So that kind of stuff. And Game Pass there is a reason for it to be. I don't know. I get that 100%. I always look at everything from a consumer standpoint and
Sure.
what
it
costs and what we grew up in. I mean, you and I grew up in the same kind of area and stuff like that when we were kids, and
Yeah.
Just for you, it was
get
200 years earlier than him, but it's
yeah.
cool.
No, I get that Carrie's a little bit older than me, but don't say
No,
stuff
not
like that.
not
Carrie. I
Carrie.
mean,
You.
don't say that.
I'm very old. I am exceedingly old.
No,
Yeah.
I was talking about Jedi, but actually, really quick.
Pinto bands, all black bands, all black bands, pinto bands, all black bands, all black bands.
Listen, set yourself up for failure, dude. This guy is in my court, man. Go
Hey,
ahead and answer the
just
question,
chill.
Carrie.
So every week we ask our guests, if they had to choose between pinto beans and black beans, which one would you choose?
Oh. All right. I kind of like the flavor profile of pinto beans better.
You got this.
I'm on a
one,
roll. I'm on
Matt.
a roll.
Yeah, you
Come on,
got it. You
that
got
was loaded. We're DC guys. We're both from New York. Come on, you should have known better.
Yeah, I should have just skipped it this week, huh?
Gary, he doesn't even know what a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper ketchup is. He has
What?
no idea what that is.
Really?
He's
Oh,
from,
I guess.
he's from
Okay.
Florida. He's
Oh,
from
yes.
Florida.
Yeah, I'm from Florida. I eat mofongo.
know what that
and-
is.
and
You
steak
don't know what
and
that is.
Cuban
You don't know
food
what that
and-
is.
and
Listen,
Caribbean food.
You tell him, let's go get a slice. He's going to Domino's. Okay.
No,
He
that's
doesn't know,
that's
bro.
bullshit, Matt. That's bullshit.
He doesn't
yeah,
know, man. He
yeah.
doesn't understand.
That's wild. You got to
well-
remember, where do the New York guys go to retire? And do you think that most of these older New York Italian guys are like, I'm about to just stay at home all day? No,
they come
they're
here to
coming to
Charlotte.
Florida. They're saying
to
they're
Charlotte.
retiring, and they're opening a pizza place. So
Oh,
no,
God.
it's the same thing, dude. It's the same thing.
The
I hurt my feelings, Gary.
I apologize.
No, it's
Don't apologize.
I typically, like, when I'm thinking about it, like I'll get like a mix of like black beans and pinto beans, but I
that's
typically
my
prefer
wife does that.
I typically prefer the texture, the flavor profile. They're a bit creamier. Like you kind of like, tongue it to the roof of your mouth, and it has that nice spread. I don't know. Pinto beans are, I don't know. I like them better. I just
it's
like
all
them.
good, dude.
I feel like he's talking about something a little appropriate about tongue into the roof of his mouth. I'm a little uncomfortable with it, bro.
I mean, when you're describing things, you have to go like like XR glasses, right? Like, how do you communicate to someone why like
Right.
you got it.
You're right.
I love it, man. I love it.
Hey, so man, we had so much stuff to ask you about, but like
Yeah, and we just been going on.
we've
and on.
had
We
such a
cover any
great
of it.
time, and we've gotten so many answers. I mean, you answered a bunch of questions without us even having to ask them.
Yeah,
So that
man.
was
Yeah.
great. The last thing I will ask you about is just before we head out of here is the Conquer Fit and the Odin 3. Are you looking forward to them? Is there one you look forward to more than the other? Also, just a second question for that is, do you see a reasoning for a 24 gig spec?
Oh, it's such a good question.
So 24 gig
In
is really,
Android.
right? Yeah. So 24 gig is really where you're going to be. There may be some difficult situations for like WinLater or Windows games that you're going to be running. There may be an opportunity, especially as time goes on, because there are a lot of packages coming out like Game Hub, which I don't really recommend, but it does the job. Where they're doing a lot of the work for you to do the box 64. They're giving you all of the wrappers and emulation to run x86 games on Android, and that's where you're really going to need the RAM. For me, all of these things have an inherent problem. Like for AYN's problem is that they are their own worst competitor. AYN and the Odin 2 kind of like threw down the gauntlet of like $300 on real performance. And it was like, oh, wow, that is like really good. And now you look at this device and it's $300 again. And it's like, well, how much better is it? And it's like, it's marginally better. And it's like, whoa. I mean, when the Odin 2 came out and like, you know, the Odin port, the AOIN portal, those had like things that were kind of neat to them. I find more value like in the AYN Thor, to be honest, because
that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, so it has that 3DS
clamshell guy though. So.
Yeah, same. Clamshells are superior.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's also a good price for what it is. And if you want to play 3DS, and I look forward to that more. And I would, you know, glasses free 3D. I feel like I'm not going to get the Thor right now because my hope is that A1 comes out with a glasses free 3D one, and somehow we can get actual 3DS emulation running.
I didn't even think of that. That was like the furthest from my mind. Glasses free 3D.
This is like a super niche thing. They're called Mochi. Snail is the company. They made the only gaming phones that existed. And in 2015, they had a glasses-free gaming phone that was import only, and I bought it and I have it. Like there's like, I don't know, 5 made. I don't know how many there's made. Very few of them have. Dual screen is going to typically dual screen is not going to drain the battery all that fast. Most of the mobile displays that we have in these things are edge lit. The part that consumes most of the battery is how bright you make the panel, and because they're edge lit, it's just a single LED that you're powering, and then that cascades to illuminate. You don't have like full array local dimming where you have like a whole series of LEDs that you're powering. So you have to think about it from that end, that it's an edge lit panel and they don't take power at all, really. So having 2 of them is not really going to impact battery life all that much.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So do you think you'll be picking one of these up, or probably not?
No, I don't like. I have an Odin 2, and I don't know why I would want an Odin 3. Is basically what it comes down to, especially because anything that you can do that's more exotic with the more expensive one, I would have a better time on an x86 device.
Yes.
So I don't like it. Does like when it's like $500 for that, it doesn't make any sense to me, really. Like you said, you got your used Legion Go for $250 or whatever, right? Like that's going to spank this. And you can do easier PS3 emulation. You can do a bunch of other stuff this is going to have a difficult time with. It does do sleep modes and a lot of other stuff better. So as like a traditional handheld, it's going to be very nice. But for the price of it, I don't see it being all that much better than what they've already made. So the value of what's there isn't enough for me. I think it's going to be excellent. I think AYN and Retroid, the same company, they make good stuff. So you know that's, and then you have Ioneo. Truthfully, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most from Ioneo is their gaming phone, their slide out gaming phone.
Wow, you're the first person that I've heard say that. And why is that?
You know, we talked about, we didn't actually get to say this. The question came up, did I ever like do e-waste upcycling type of stuff?
Yeah.
And I have. When I started talking about the Open Pandora, it was because of the Galaxy S1. During the Galaxy S1, they had made 4 different variants for every carrier, and Sprint had the.
I remember that. It was like the Captivate, I forgot all their names. They had all different names, but they were basically the same phone. Right. Just aesthetically, they looked a little bit different.
Right. So in 2011, 2012, Sprint had the Epic 4G, which was it had a slide out keyboard for using as a keyboard. Yep. So I just got it. And I just ripped those keys off that I didn't want to use, and I made a D-pad and face buttons. And
no way.
Yeah, that's and I made a video about it, and that's when I bought it brand new. Engadget, that blog that I don't know if anyone even still goes to it anymore. If you look up, if you put Engadget Power Mad Modder, you're gonna find me because they called me the Power Mad Modder for making a slide out gaming phone. So I've been wanting a slide out gaming phone for over a decade now.
So you did that brand new to the phone. You just
Yeah.
Wow, insane, dude.
I had
Awesome.
I had done a follow-up video on the Epic 4G on my channel because in 2018 or 2019 you could buy used Epic 4Gs for $13 shipped. So I was like, here's a $13 retro handheld that is better than a lot of stuff because it has an OLED display and
Absolutely.
a Hummingbird. It was a 1 gigahertz Cortex A8,
Yep.
A9, and I was like, this is 512 megs of. It was way cheaper than anything else. It was e-waste, but I upcycled it into a gaming handheld.
Yeah.
When I did my video, the guy had like, I don't know, 500 units and he sold out instantly. Like instantly. Like it was just like he had 500 orders and he was
I would have bought one if I seen that video and I was like, how I would have bought one. 13 bucks, dude. I've spent 13 bucks on way worse.
Like,
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think you can still find that video that I made as a $13 handheld on my channel. But that was just e-waste upcycling. But yeah, so I have been a slide out gaming phone fan forever. I have been wanting this for over a decade. I have talked to the owner, Arthur, at Ioneo. I was like, you should make a gaming phone because he started doing Android stuff. And he was like, it's this, that, and the other. But now they are. I've asked GPD. I've asked Asus to make a gaming phone. I ask everybody, anytime that I am in earshot of anyone that could possibly manufacture something, I mentioned
really good.
when I was at Gamescom, I looked at Jason Ronald, the vice president of next generation consoles. I said, you and Asus should make an Xbox phone. I'm telling you, every chance I get, I ask for a slide out gaming phone. And for most people, they're like, here's the deal. 5G LTE. What the hell do you need that for? Like 4G was fine. Does anyone use 5G for any purposes at all? It seems to me that Xbox cloud gaming would be a perfect vehicle for having 5G LTE, like having more bandwidth. So it'd be like a thing that you could directly sell to someone to advertise why you would want 5G, as opposed to, even though it does work on 4G just fine. But mostly I've wanted it just because I love Retro Achievements. The site, I've been a member of Retro Achievements for over a decade now. And the problem is you have to be connected to the internet every time you start a game. So I want a gaming phone so that I could just have my data connection, start up a game, and start getting achievements on older retro games and just play on my device. I would rather have one device that I carry with me that I could just slide up
all the time. Yeah.
I don't buy accessories. I'm not like, I have this stuff, right? Like I have this.
Yeah.
I've never once in the history of ever in subways, buses in Manhattan seen someone be like, oh, wait 1 second, let me put this in my phone. It's never
nobody's
happened.
Carrying those things with them.
No one does. Like everyone has this idea in their head that they're going to be doing this out and about. It never materializes because it takes 2 minutes, and those 2 minutes is 2 minutes too long.
I have one of those. I have a GameSir G8 in my backpack.
Right? Yeah. But
how many times have you pulled it out of your backpack?
No English. No English.
Oh,
no English.
Okay. You plead the fifth. Okay.
I keep the GameSir G8 in my backpack for when I was playing Destiny Rising.
Well, yeah. So, like, for sure, like I find this to be like something that, like, when you talk about e-waste and upcycling, these are great devices because then you can buy like an old phone with like a Snapdragon chipset, and you basically just have it in here all the time. And it never leaves. And then you're like, okay, well, that makes sense. I can understand that. But it's one of the reasons that VR has a problem today, right? The main reason that no one really uses VR is because it takes 3 to 4 minutes to get into it. And that time to game, the friction of getting into using it is only a few minutes. But that few minutes is enough for you to say, I'm not going to do it. Like if you could imagine that if you had to use your phone, you took your phone out of your pocket, and it took 3 minutes to actually use it. No one would use it.
Oh, you would use your phone way less.
Yeah. So
that's a great point. Yeah.
So a slide-out gaming phone that doesn't need Bluetooth, that doesn't need anything, you just pop it out and start going. You need that friction to be non-existent, and no one makes sliding gaming phones. The Sony made one.
Dude, I've wanted it. Yeah, I was gonna say I've wanted a new Sony Xperia for so long. You know, just.
But the patent for that ran out in September, July. So Sony's patent on the Xperia Play this year.
Oh, wow.
And it just ended 2 months ago. Surprise, surprise! Miyoo was coming out with one just after that patent finished. But I don't know if that was the case. But in any event, that is something that they have alluded to that they're making. And as I've asked Arthur, I said, please just put one good camera on this because I need a camera. I like that. That's the only reason I buy new phones right now. There is no. I'm never starved for performance. I'm never like, man, this app is slow. I have a Galaxy S22, so my phone is old at this point. But I have no reason to upgrade. The only reason that I would upgrade is the camera, and that's it. Performance never enters my mind. Battery life.
I have a Note 20 Ultra that's still like absolutely great. It's a great phone. The only reason, I mean, I have an iPhone 16 Pro Max that I bought just for video capture.
Right.
Like that's the only reason that I upgraded to that phone. And because it was the first one that had the USB-C. So that I could plug little USB drives into it and stuff like that. But it's strictly I bought it for YouTube content creation.
And when you think about it for that, the camera quality that it produces and being a phone is like, wow, I'm getting great quality video out of this. If I were to buy a DSLR for $2,000, I'm saving money by getting this. Like so I totally get that. Anyway, that's why I asked Arthur. I was like, please put one very good camera. I don't need zooms. I just need one good camera.
That'd be awesome if it has a great camera.
Yeah. And if that happens, then that Ioneo will be my only phone in forever. Like that's like will be my forever phone. That'll be the one I switch to, and that'll be it.
I hope it gets an SD card slot.
Yeah, I mean, I would wager that it does, but like I mean, for me, I just really want it to replace my phone. Like I genuinely want to have one device that is the one thing that I carry around with me at all times. And at that point, during those moments when I'm out and away, streaming a game is something that I'm 100% comfortable with. And like xCloud gaming, because it does all the save syncing automatically, you don't have to do anything. It becomes a very real, like a very useful, awesome utility as a supplementary way to play games. So
I hadn't messed with cloud gaming from Xbox in years up until I got the Vitcher glasses. And on the Vitcher glasses, I wanted to capture some Xbox gameplay. I launched Forza or something on there, and the new Doom game.
Dark Ages?
Man, they ran so well. Like I didn't feel that input latency that there was years ago.
Right.
They've come such a long way with cloud
huge
gaming.
Difference. Yeah.
So two things. One is just recently they have actually increased bit rates on xCloud. Now, the one thing that hasn't changed is the encoding quality or anything. It's just increased the bit rate. So they're sending more data, which is why you're getting better quality and latency. Also, they have more proxies, so latency is better. But the next generation of Xbox hardware, Xbox Silicon, will be using RDNA5 and also using those new encoders. So we have to wait until then to get like 4K output and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not going to. Yeah, they are not going to compete with GeForce now until the next generation because the systems that Microsoft is using quite literally are modified Xbox Series X's in a data center. They just have more RAM. So you can do like 2 Series S games at once.
Yeah, I saw that. I was watching something somewhere on YouTube. I had no idea. Where I saw these big server rack like things that had like Xbox hardware inside of them, and that's how they were.
Yeah, they're coming into a blade, and they just have very high density. Yeah. So, so you're using all 2020 technology on those things still, and AMD has improved their video encoders with RDNA4 by leaps and bounds. So RDNA5, when that comes out, that's when you're going to start. That's when Xbox Cloud Gaming is going to start competing with GeForce Now. So you're like really again like in that 2027 area where Xbox Cloud Gaming is going to get another boost on top of that. So they're doing a lot of things that are interesting to say the least. I do not prefer game streaming as like my first stop for gaming.
Yeah,
but as a supplement, and because the syncing of saves happens automatically, it's been fantastic.
That's why I prefer, and no flack to the guys who use Nvidia's game streaming, but that's why I've always preferred the Xbox game streaming over it. Is because of the saving, right? Like I can literally just pick up my phone and pick up where I left off at home.
Yeah,
and that's, you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
that.
I don't want to start a game every time over.
That one feature is such a killer feature. And it works on Xbox as well, right? So if a game is Xbox Play Anywhere, that save syncs between all three of those platforms: PC, cloud, and Xbox. And then that flexibility is really the secret sauce of that Microsoft alone has, that no one really does, because no one's really in Xbox all that much. Like they're third place, no one really does anything. And I would offer that if there was an Xbox phone, you'd probably see people use this more often. But I don't know. I told Asus, I told in front of the main guy at Xbox that they should make an Xbox phone. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Man, dude. So you actually sparked some interest in me on the Ioneo phone, because I had not even it was the least interesting thing of the 12 devices they had announced to me. I was like, another phone, from Ioneo, gonna be overpriced.
Oh, it's gonna be over. But I mean, like, when you compare it to phone prices, it might not actually be expensive.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, because
I immediately wrote it off because I thought we're not even going to see that thing in the US because of all the issues, with bandwidth and all the stuff. And I'm like, we're probably not even going to see that on a service here in the US. But I kind of hope we do now, because that does sound awesome. That's a great perspective on it,
Right, yeah. So typically on the ones that they do with like 4G internet that they enable, T-Mobile runs on their the band. I can use it in my area and get 4G. I can't get 5G. But I have been able to get 4G, and it's been totally fine. So even if I could get 4G, I'd be more than happy with that. But they have been using Snapdragon's Qualcomm Snapdragon. So if they're making a phone, they are going to be pricing this as a phone thing. So it's probably going to be $800. But when you compare that to phones are $800. So it's literally the same price. So as long as they have one good camera on there, and I can legitimately replace my phone with this, I just want one device. And I have been waiting for this for 13, 15 years now. I've cobbled together lots of my own solutions. I bought that thing that is on Kickstarter, which I should be getting pretty soon. What's the name of it? It's they use the MagSafe, and it's
MCON,
yes.
Yeah.
So I backed that, and that's like a consolation prize. I can do that now. Like I've already had, like, I use a case on my Samsung to do MagSafe. So I already have this. And when they were doing that, I was like, oh, sick, that's going to work fine for me. But I'm going to have to carry around two devices. So I'm going to have the MCON in one of my pockets and this in my other pocket, and see if I can actually use it. If I can do it fast. They show demos of it, and the latest model that they have, really nice. It remains to be seen how well it works out in practice. I don't know. At the very least, that is a thing that I can do. But like when you have them together, it's like a chunky monkey.
It's huge.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at the Xperia Play, it's still thinner than a lot of phones out today, and that had a slide out thing, but it didn't have analog sticks. It had like
those
virtual
capacitive. Yeah.
So you do need depth for analog sticks. So the device is going to be as deep as you need the analog stick to be.
Does it have a battery?
It's gonna, like, so the benefit is that you can put all of that into the base, and only the display slides. So the display is typically super thin, and that's the part that would slide out. It's been like the Xperia Plays. It's super comfortable to use.
Obviously, the MCON. Does the MCON have a battery?
Yeah. The MCON it's got it's small battery. It's like a 400 milliamp hour battery. Yeah, it's small, but it's perfect for the controller and the Bluetooth. It's really
but like that's, so I mean, like, the whole thing works great. Like they showed it off, like they connected to the thing and they pressed the thing and it slid out, and that whole action activates the Bluetooth, and then it connected. And so it's like they've done
pretty seamless. Nice.
Yeah. So it's $100. I bought the early bird for $100. Then I had to pay $20 for shipping. No problem. And it's probably like October that it's likely going to come. But that's like the only thing that I have to look forward to right now. I think the only thing I'm gonna have to do is like they sell silicone sticky things that you can put some credit cards into, like 4 credit cards, and I might just slap that onto the
Get
MCon.
rid of the wallet.
Yeah, so it'll be my
There you
wallet.
Yeah.
But that's like kind of like silly things that I have to do to be able to carry around 2 different things, which I don't really want to do. I prefer to just have a combino device.
Yes. Extra stuff in my pocket makes me crazy. So
Yeah, just
I don't put stuff in my pocket, bro. Nope, I hate it.
I like
So-
my phone, my keys, and my wallet. I'm simple. I'm a simple person.
yeah, exactly. It's I don't know physiologically. I don't backpacks don't work very well for me. Like whenever I wear a backpack, my back heats up like a furnace. So I've never liked backpacks ever. So I'm not a backpack guy. So when I think about people like, oh, just put it in your backpack, I'm like, I don't like backpacks. That's why I always like the GPD Win Mini or the GPD Win 2 because I always put it in my back pocket. I never had a need of carrying.
Get a fanny pack. No, I'm just kidding.
Do it, dude.
Are you
Don't
thinking
listen.
about it?
I have.
Do it. Get
I
a
have
Tom Talk. Go get a Tom Talk.
I don't know if anyone can do this. All right. I have in my mind designed the perfect backpack that rests on your hips and is off of your back because all of the weight is on your hips. But I have no idea of how you would build a backpack like that and how you would even put the backpack on because all of the weight would be on your waist. Which is
have
also
to have a frame, I would assume.
And it's
It would
going to
have
smack
some
you in
sort
the
of
ass
internal
every time you
frame.
walk forward. It's going to knock you over.
So I mean, there's design problems, but if someone could manufacture like a new backpack, that would be the one backpack that I would wear. But I have looked into fanny packs, but fanny packs are really hard. Give the Win 5 the back. Yeah, I mean for the batteries that I'm gonna have to, the EcoFlow that you're gonna have to carry around.
Oh, that's funny.
I've looked into fanny packs, but they are as like I don't know if you guys ever you've played video games, so you're aware of like modifiers to attributes. Fanny packs are like a +2 to holding and -20 charisma. It's like
yes, bro. Hey, I could not have described it better myself. Like absolutely -20 charisma. Perfect.
So
dude.
funny thing is that I carry a Tom Talk sling everywhere because I hate putting stuff in my pocket. So.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean,
but the sling has became kind of quote
popular.
unquote cool, right? Like it's cool to have a sling now.
Yeah,
know?
so I have seen the sling, and I've looked at so many different ways. Like they have leather like cowboy satchel things that you can like just kind of
like Indiana Jones.
It's like, dude, there's no strap at all. You just literally slop it over your shoulder.
Dude, I want to see you walk around Manhattan with one of those. I want to see you walk around Manhattan with one of those.
It's a cowboy shoulder straddle, and I was like, can I walk around New York with that? I was like, nah, I can't walk around. I've looked at so many different things, but truthfully, the fanny pack as it is, when it's around your waist, it is like seamless. It doesn't feel heavy. It offers a large amount, like it offers extra capacity. But man, when you have that fanny pack right in front of you,
your voice just went down.
I mean,
dude.
Like, I would have to get absolutely ripped and shredded just to counter the charisma, like just to cancel it out. Like people are like, oh God, look at that.
Look at that guy got a fit, but damn, he's ripped, right?
Yeah. Like,
I think
it kind of evens out.
I think when we have Fox back, we should do a fanny pack only episode.
Hey, that would be hilarious, dude.
I've genuinely looked. I have not found anything. I like the slings and stuff I've seen, but I'm not it never really gelled with me. I am still on the lookout. I have found like vertical type of fanny pack type of situations where I could put it on the side. And that's for like the GPU and Max. I got one that can fit a GPU and Max, and I put that on my side, and that's not as bad. They make like biker bags is what they're called. They're leg drop bags is what they're called. Okay. And those don't look as bad, but they're all, the design of them are all like, you have to be really into Harleys or you know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
like leather and
Yeah.
like they don't make
Not cool for a
designs.
t-shirt and sneakers kind of guy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't make any canvas material ones. They don't make any
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's
They don't make
Yeah, no casual. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Like, did you have any casual leg drop bags? And they're like, get out.
Get out now, dude. In the wrong store.
You're describing it, and I'm picturing Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom when he's got the bag on the side and he's putting the skull in the side pouch, and
Yeah.
that's really funny.
Yeah,
That's
like
hilarious.
that is the one I would like that rustic leather look isn't so bad, but trying to find something that could go around the waist and like sag off in a very cool way is hard to find.
Oh my god, this guy's a clown.
Yeah, I was just gonna put that up there, dude.
Man, this entire episode has been absolutely perfect for things that I've never heard before in using Phawx in very creative ways.
Oh my god, and it's all Michael. It's all Michael. I
My-
told you before.
Michael Benny is the biggest like movie buff. Like he like everything with entertainment and movies. He remembers like the most minute detail in every movie. You remember when Samuel L. Jackson tied his shoe in the 1991 comedy of blah blah? Like no, I don't remember that. Bro.
Nobody remembers that. I do.
It's hilarious.
Oh,
Hey,
so
well,
good.
man, we're gonna wrap this up. This went longer than
Oh, wow.
expected.
I didn't realize
was
we've been
having
going on for
such
2.5
an amazing
hours.
Time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
man.
Carrie's been standing this entire time, which big
I have
salutes to you, dude.
there's a standing mat that I have, so it's quite comfortable.
Oh yeah, you're pretty chill. Okay.
I don't think he's ever sat in any of his videos or anything.
No,
like that.
he's always right here with this cool ass background.
Yeah, so it's like let me see if I can. So this is like I have a mobile desk. So right now, this is like how I would use my desk when I'm sitting at my desk.
That's funny.
So I just
you should do that because you can see the Vectrex in the background.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Did you see the Vectrex Mini they got coming out? Not to
No.
Oh yeah, they're working on a Vectrex Mini.
How about that? No, yeah. So the Vectrex, I love original hardware, big time. So like the Vectrex with an actual vector display, is something that you really need to witness, and it's like why I still have like a 3DS and I still have CRTs. So sometimes you can't beat the original stuff.
No, not for the original hardware for sure. You're not gonna play a SNES or NES, on a flat screen TV today and it'd be as good as a CRT. There's no way. That is cool. You have an amazing collection. I love that OD Green Halo Xbox 360. Like
I am the biggest Halo fan ever. It is genuinely unfortunate that Microsoft ran that entire series into the ground. Everything that they've done, I don't know how they could have done it. It's really Bungie got dismantled and no longer has it. This is awesome. I've never seen this before. But is it a real vector display? Oh, it's built in AMOLED screen.
Yeah,
I see. So they're okay. So they're using so it can mimic a vector-like display to some degree. Yep. Okay, that's cool.
I don't like that it's coming in white, but I mean, I still thought it was cool. I thought it was kind of weird. Like, why is it color? Right,
I mean,
I'm derailing us again. Sorry.
No worries. Like, they make flashcards for the Vectrex. I don't know if they make them anymore, but they only have like 30 or 40 games on there, and there's a lot of like Timbuktu messengers. Oh, these are the bags. I've looked on and off every now and again for like really trying to carry around my mini PCs, but generally speaking, when I really go out, I just bring the GPD. Why is it? It's not the micro PC. GPD Win Mini is what I bring around with me. So the 2025 edition is the one that I typically take when I travel. And if I have to do work, I use the GPD Win Max. That's what I bring with me, so I can have that.
How are not to derail us again, but I mean, you are the GPD guy. How are the joysticks on the Win Mini? I've never owned one. I've wanted one for years. Like,
so they because they're trying to minimize how deep they are, the travel of them isn't very far. So they tend to be a bit more sensitive than I think people would like. Like if you think about the full range that you have like on a DualSense or Xbox controller, like how wide you're going to hit the edges pretty fast. So fidelity wise, in terms of how they like operate and like when you press them, fine, but you will reach the outer edge rather quickly. So you start making like you kind of like will like feather back and forth if you need to like do anything. I still find it just fine. I've learned to compensate for it. But really where it gets down to is that if you really want precision, you should be using the gyro, which I still haven't used yet. It is the compromise with camshafts.
Gyros never clicked for me.
Me neither. I don't got the coordination to be in a game and then having it. I can't.
Me either. I try. I know people are nasty with gyro. Like I've seen people.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen people with a DualSense being as good as mouse and keyboard. And I'm like, wow, I know that it can be fantastic. I have witnessed it. But when I try to like sit down, it's like patting my head and rubbing my belly at the same time. It's
Same.
I start using the analog stick and I'm like, oh
it's so counterproductive. Oh man.
So
same, dude. I thought it was just me. I thought I was like just broken.
Same way.
Like, okay.
Yeah, same way.
I know it's superior. I know gyro is superior. It's just that I can't.
Well, my biggest thing was wondering is like, is it something that I could get adjusted to? Which you said, it's just something you have to adjust to. And
I have long adjusted to it. So you're talking to someone that loves the form factor, loves everything about that device, like the keyboard's thumb typable. The 2025 edition is the only one I would recommend because they fixed all of the heat issues that were present in the previous ones.
That's why I did stay away from the 24 and stuff like that because of I heard about all the heat issues. And,
when the 2023 one came out, that was upsetting for me because I got the review model and I was like, a lot of people couldn't believe it because like I'm the GPD guy and I had like a full negative video for you know what I mean? They're like, they're like, oh shit, like even Phawx can like, so that. But it was impossible for me to recommend because you had to run the device at such low TDPs. And even after a while, the heat would just keep building and building. And it just became, not that it would burn your hands, but you just didn't want to hold it. It was like
not comfortable. Yeah.
So your hands start sweating. And it's just like, this sucks. And the 2025, they fixed all of it. But they also increased the dimensions a little bit. So it's actually a little bit larger. So that's how they fixed it, is they just made it a bit bigger. So it's not as...
Keep going, Kerry. You're making me regret the Neo 3. That's the device I went with instead, dude.
He was going back and forth. He was going back and forth.
You remember that? I was like, dude, I really wanted the GPD.
And you found that white one mini too, which was
beautiful device, dude.
That is the white model. That's one I take with me everywhere. That is,
I've seen your videos on it.
That is without a doubt that is the best, like high power yet smallest device that you can get still to this day.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I've wanted that. I mean, I'm clamshell, so I've wanted it, and there was another little one stupid reason. And even though I thought I was going to utilize it more, and I was like, damn, they took the Oculink out.
Oh yes.
So that kind of was like a bummer for me. And
I hate to keep you guys on here, but there is something that does need to be said. There is a hacky method that you can use to increase the performance of Thunderbolt to approach Oculink. Like considerably. Before we were at like a 30% performance difference between the two, and now we're like 95% of Oculink with Thunderbolt.
Oh my god!
Really?
So this has been known for a while. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Russ got a review unit in of an eGPU, which I still don't think he's actually done a review on. And he's like, hey, the benches that I'm doing on this, they're weird because they're as good as Oculink. And I'm like, that sounds weird. Like that seems like Oculink is broken because Thunderbolt should be worse. And it turns out that the company that made it basically hacked together the Thunderbolt. So they're using an M2 to Thunderbolt bridge. And doing that alone, you don't have to get this. You can get the cheaper parts yourself. I'm going to do a video on it, but you can make Thunderbolt as good as Oculink. today.
By just using the
Amazing.
M2 bridge.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I've seen some eGPU docks that you could purchase that stuff for, and I was just like, it can't be as good. But now that you're saying that, I want to give that a try because I don't have
yeah.
to deal with the whole shutting off the device before unplugging it and
Right.
Right,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
extra
right,
hubbub.
yeah.
You can just hot plug it. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna be doing the video on the Win 5 first, but I'm gonna be buying the parts and validating everything relatively soon.
Oh,
So
I can't wait. I can't wait.
yeah, so if you're looking for as best Thunderbolt performance in eGPU as possible, this will be what you want to do.
Nice. That's exciting actually. That's really exciting because that opened the
It's-
doors for a ton of handheld because nothing has
For real.
OptiLink anymore. Like one or
Yeah.
two devices.
So we are getting the upgrade soon. It's called MCIO Mini Cool Edge, and that's going to be for PCI 5. It's the next generation OcuLink, and that is coming, as well as Thunderbolt 5. So between both those solutions, we have our bases covered for actually fantastic eGPU solutions. But with this Thunderbolt 4 solution, it is a excellent bridge of having your cake and eating it too. What's wild is that no one has actually we've known about this for months now, but other people know about it, but no one's really talking about it, which is wild.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
I guess one last thing man, it's so easy to keep going with you because like everything I want to know.
Yeah.
Everything that I want to know, everything that I'm into, like there's a reason why I named my channel Too Loud Tech and not like Too Loud Retro Handhelds. Like I love x86, I love PCs, right? And so man, that little swappable SSD that GPD is using in the Win 5. Is that because I'm hearing it's proprietary, but are we going to see something like that coming? Oh, 1X has one.
1X is going to use it in that new device, that new Strix Halo device they got coming out. They're applying it as well too.
Yeah, the thing that they made is basically by Bywin. And GPD has worked with Bywin forever, since like I don't know, 8 years now. So GPD has had a close working relationship with Bywin because they always work with them when making stuff. So Bywin actually is the progenitor. They are the people they are the originator of this form factor, and they actually made a press release saying that there is a handheld coming soon that will be using this. They were talking about the GPD Win 5, but they just could not say it at that moment. But so Bywin is the company that is actually making this. So for them, they don't care if anyone actually uses it. But Bywin will be the ones that are doing it. And it's technically superior to like a micro SD Express card because it's a full SSD. It's just super tiny.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It's a very interesting thing, and I will see where it goes.
I mean, to me, it's like it's interesting because if I still get my M2 slot internally, where I have an internal, 2280 or whatever inside, and now I have a hot swappable little SSD.
Right?
How cool is that, dude? Like,
yeah. Then you don't have you're having your cake and eating it too. It's basically what like the whole
really
thing,
is.
like what GPD does is like everything in the kitchen sink. It's like here's the GPD Win Max, literally everything. Like as best of a keyboard as you. Speaking of that keyboard made by Faust, that was months of work to get that keyboard to the form factor that it was. There's other things that are going on. The amount of work that is done on keyboards doesn't matter. All of this to say is that it's super cool that we are innovating in this space a lot, and GPD does push the envelope a lot. There's also other boutique makers that I think lean a little bit harder on software, and GPD, I would say, really leans on very unique hardware packages.
But what I could see from GPD is because you got those Agisha drivers rather timely compared to some of the other boutique. I don't have that available on the iNeo 3.
Right.
So it's like, to me, they're trying to also do the software stuff. I don't know what GPD uses for their TDP control and stuff like that. I don't know what that program is called, or
it's called motion control.
motion control.
It's made by a third-party guy, but he works directly with GPD. It's his name's Frank. But
Okay.
he basically controlled the fan profile. Everything is gyro. Everything is controlled through this one thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of like handheld companion. It's just like their version of it.
It's a simplified version of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Straight to the point, and it works very well. It has a ton of features like GPU float performance. So stuff that the work that I had done earlier on, like by adjusting GPU clock controls to maximize performance in certain TDP windows. He does a thing where he is looking at an FPS counter and fluctuating GPU clocks in real time to maximize performance and battery life, to maximize efficiency.
Oh, nice. That's insane. That's awesome.
So that's in motion control. So you just like click a little radio button that says float, and that means floating GPU. And then it'll target whatever FPS you want, like 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever. And it will just try its best to hit 60 FPS and only give enough clock to the GPU to achieve that FPS. So you're minimizing the voltage on the Yeah. So I've done a video on this ago. That's like 2 years ago at this point, but this is like, min-maxing things to the nth degree. Another thing that I've talked to Microsoft and Asus about is like, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? Well, like Iron Man with with a box of scraps in a cave. Like, why, you guys have Stark Tower. Like, just get it done.
Right.
It is. To me, it's a bit aggravating, right? Because like for us who are more savvy in the space, like we'll tinker. Right. Do we always want to tinker though? That's the bigger thing, right? Like sometimes we don't want to tinker, we just want to play. And then like what about the people who are entering this space who are literally console gamers, right? They're not even PC users, right? They're coming from Xbox, they're coming from PlayStation. It's already overwhelming with having to tell them like, yeah, you get some updates from Windows Update. You're gonna get your driver update from that manufacturer. You're gonna get your game updates over here. That's overwhelming for them. Whereas on their console, it's like everything just updates together. They get all their updates in the same place.
I think those people are going to be more likely to be Steam Deck users if they're coming in. You know what I mean? Because of the console experience on there. I think also that's kind of what we talked about earlier, where the change in Microsoft pushing the Ally is going to help. Yeah. So,
cool. Interesting times ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I will say before we wrap this up, my next non-corporate device will be a GPD. You have sold me, sir.
And, I was just looking at the Win Mini. I was just looking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking at, and I'm staying here. I'm like, son of a bitch, Carrie. I had my mind made up on this A1X, and now I'm looking at this freaking Win Mini.
I mean,
cursing his ass out.
Yeah, it's it's always something. So there will always be something on the horizon. So. Or you could also just look at, the problem is like GPD devices do keep their resale value up pretty high.
Well, I want him to get it because Kerry, every time he gets a device and realizes it's too small for him, I call dibs. Hey, well, this was a great show, man. Kerry, thank you so much. Man. We've enjoyed ourselves. It's been a blast, man. Thank you so much for everybody in the audience. Kerry, I know that where else can they find you beside YouTube? We have links for you in the description. Are you on any other social medias or?
Typically I only use Twitter. I do want to try to, there's so many people that try to they use Blue Sky or something else. And I don't want to post in multiple places. So I'm trying to work on developing an internal app that doesn't matter. I basically post to Twitter at the moment. I would like to post on other places automatically and just have it branch out from there. But basically it's YouTube, The Phawx, and my name, Carrie Gollum, at Twitter.
Nice. So
what are we going to see for episode for video number 600? I know you made it already before. What can we expect next from you?
The GP Win 5.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Couldn't be a better person to put that video out. Like,
appreciate it.
Don't sell me on that, Kerry.
I'm probably gonna give everyone the hard sell. It's going to be, it's going to be a monstrous handheld. And it's going to be hard to not show off how amazing it is.
I really want it to be great. I do. I want it to be great. I hope that there's no problems with the batteries being external and covering up the fans. I really also, last note, and if I hope that they do follow you around and they hear this, is that I hope that GPD releases some sort of dock for their external batteries so that you could buy multiple external batteries.
They do.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
So there's also like I can't talk about it, but like there's like cool stuff, cool things is all I can say.
Cool.
Possibly.
Cool.
Who knows?
Cool. Yeah, cool. That works for me. Well, this has been SaveState Podcast with our great guest here, Carrie the Phawx. Had an awesome time. I hope you guys fucked around and found out. And we'll catch you guys again next week. Thank you so much. Peace.
Good night.
Thanks.